Indeed, if we had not met our God, our enemies would have defeated us. Good morning, cherished viewers. You are welcome to Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am your host, Yayira Awuno. We are coming to you live from the studios of Clog TV. We are also live on GoTV channel 184. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so don't forget to send in your comments to our live stream. Call a friend, text a friend while they are on their way to work, or even from the comfort of your homes, you can join us online. Just look for Clog TV on Facebook and on YouTube. Now, here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, we bring to you the most informative, educative, and entertaining segments like business, sports, even lifestyle, motivational quotes, in-depth discussions to give you a well-rounded experience and set the tone for your day. Up next is the motivational quote with Miss Beverlyn Anobil. She is going to prepare our hearts to be inspired.
Hello, good morning to you and welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. My name is Annabelle Beverlyn Ajabia, and you know how we already do it. We are here, we see to it that you get motivated to start your day. Now let's take a look at our quotes for today. So it's that you can't change someone who doesn't see an issue in their actions. You can't change someone who doesn't see an issue in their actions. Wow, this is a very interesting quote and so relatable. You know, I can't say that near ultrasound or nimse nature. So change is a very important thing in our lives as humans. But then if someone doesn't see the reason for them to change their actions, there's no way they are going to change, because that kind of self-realization hasn't gotten to them. So in as much as you want to change someone, sometimes you just have to let them experience certain situations, because, you know, experience, they say, is the best teacher. So as they go through some process, they'll come to the self-realization that they need to go the other way around. This is all I have for you today. Make sure you do enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of our program as well.
Wow. That is a very beautiful quote, and I'm sure as you go through your day and you meditate upon it, you look back and reflect within yourself. Anything that you don't see an issue, other people see issues with, you try to introspect and even retrospect, look back and try to make some changes with yourself. And also, of course, share the positivity to your friends and loved ones as you go about your day. Up next is the newspaper review, online and newspaper print review, with two of my co-hosts in the persons of Miss Miriam Abnadidi and Mr. Clement Yabankwe. Right after this break, they'll be joining me here so we review some interesting news right here.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
As in today's world full of information, we sift through the lot to bring you credible, timely, and informative news updates.
We give you true, happening, detailed stories on our news line to make sure the public is well informed.
When it breaks, we are there. Being it local, international, and business, Express Update is always there to cover.
And in the world of sports, we bring you the best sports updates locally and internationally. Join the news team on Clog TV for all your news updates.
Tell them what they happen. You send the mix.
Oliver Beverly, and Edna Watson on Old School Ride. Let's get interactive and get to know our old legends.
Drumming my pain with his finger. Exciting.
Showing this on every Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and repeat on Saturdays at 3 to 4 p.m. on Clock TV. Old School Ride. Let's vibe with
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
You're welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our news review here. And joining me are two of my co-hosts in the persons of Miss Miriam Abnadidi and Mr. Clement Yabankwe, looking beautiful and handsome this morning.
As always. Yeah,
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
I'm doing so well. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to see this day. And I'll just have to be brief about my gratitude, because if I should say everything today,
What will you say
what will
tomorrow?
I say tomorrow?
Oh my goodness.
So I'm just grateful.
She's grateful because it's salary week. Yeah, you see. She's dancing.
Make you know louder, make you know louder. Low key,
So,
low key.
Ira, in terms of when it comes to monetary aspect, we don't talk about it on air. We do
Family
it.
members, friends,
Yeah,
they are all
no
We are
watching.
creating a lot of so we talk at
Debtors are all watching.
It's not easy. So
Ekene, they are all
please,
watching.
yes.
Oh, yes.
God has been so grateful, and viewers should expect nothing but the best from Cocoa Digest Morning Show.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
Wow. Thank you so much. Well, for me, I'm just glad we are getting closer to the weekend. I'm tired. To
Yeah.
rest.
There is no rest for us, Yaira, because even next week we are finding ourselves in Cape Coast, to celebrate our fashion.
Yes.
With,
Clement's people. So now he'll be giving us the fancy.
Oh, Mimi is there.
Yeah, Mimi.
Listen there.
Essay.
Yankopon ya adoma. Dependent on the hineni no. Yaroko ugwa. Na yedu ho a. Yeze afasha ne mu nsem ni abebre hene
Nani.
Please, I beg you, I can't let fancy in addition. I'm tired. The guy crying. Okay, so let's get into it quickly.
Yeah.
My trending news officers, Mimi's favorite new. What's up?
Yeah, Yaira. So we have a good news today because a young man who I think some years ago, let me say 3 years ago, stood on his grounds to defy all the odds and set his own standard, has proven to a lot of Ghanaians that the things we see outside, the physical things we see attached to our bodies, are not the things that determine who we are or who we will be. And I'm talking about this young Rastafarian boy, Tyrone Magai, if I got the name right, the Achimota School alumnus. He has made national headlines for his fight to wear dreadlocks to school and has been awarded a full scholarship to study computer engineering at a prestigious university in the United States of America.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And this story didn't just start like with this. We know he was part of the best students from Achimota School, regardless of the whole court issues, surrounding their case. He was able to come out with, flying colors.
I remember following that story, and it made absolutely no sense.
Exactly.
That because of one's hair,
he
you
will
go
not
to
be
court.
admitted.
You can't have access to school. And yet, if it was a Caucasian person coming into Achimota school, would there have been an issue about whether to cut that person's hair or
I
not?
don't think so.
Because I'm sure we all had people from other countries in our schools in SHS.
Yes.
And they just get to do whatever they want to their hair, hold it nicely. And so why? Because the dreadlocks is not African hair that has been styled. What possible contribution or deduction would it make to your academics?
So for what I know for the ladies is the fact that they play with their hair, and so usually they get distracted.
It is hair that distracts?
No, wait. When they are studying, and so that is why they decided that a lot of us, or all of us, should cut our hair so that we will be equal. Some also feel because they have hair, they kind of look, how do I even put it? It's like they are better than the others. Let me put it in that way. There's that kind of stereotype in that circle.
Okay. Well, I remember even seeing a theory about the colonial times that, even now, based on racist behaviors and things, our African hair is not as appealing, or is deemed as less appealing compared to, the straighter and more wavy hair types. So apparently, in the colonial times, that lack of appeal of our hair to the imperialists was what actually sort of caused them to want to make them just cut their hair, because it's like, if it's all grown and styled, it doesn't look nice to them, because even though our styles are beautiful. And it has taken Africans a very long time to be able to appreciate having their own hair on their heads. As much as I'm wearing a wig,
I'm not wearing a wig.
It's
I like the fact that
these
Clemens
natural hairstyles
comments on my hair a lot.
That's very true. So
he likes natural things.
Yes, that's true. I like natural things. So this kind of conversation, I think we need to talk more into it. But let's quickly move into the other aspect of the news.
Yes, because aside, if we had actually even taken up this hair thing so seriously, look at the kind of blockage Ghana would have brought on to this guy, because aside being one of the best students, he's going to an Ivy League school, right?
Yeah.
And imagine if the government or the school had won that case, what would have been this boy's fate?
It would have, affected his academics.
Yes, his life.
To lose
just because
like
of
that.
something growing on his head, a natural part of his body. And honestly, we need to check our standards again as a society, because this makes absolutely no sense.
I have a daughter that has beautiful hair, and just because of education, I have to cut everything off. Maybe in future, she could be a brand ambassador for a hair product or something.
Regardless, we are glad that things didn't take the other turn. He did get to keep his hair. He did excel. And I'm sure it goes to show that it goes beyond just your looks. What is in your head, it doesn't matter what is on your body. You will still be able to make it. And I'm sure the people who were fighting against him now look at him, and I'm sure they're ashamed. And I'm happy about that. Because how many people, even from here, get to go to Ivy League schools to start with? So imagine the kind of grades he has. Because I know, in Japa, we check the schools out, and the GPA requirement,
and then the scholarship. I think over $1.something million.
All of this, and he could have lost it just because of his hair.
So I think the education system needs to look into that.
Our society
I have one news trending, so we're just moving. That's the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations. He says that pensions management has strengthened. That government has strengthened pensions management. That is when he was addressing. He made a point that 25% of pensioners on social security, that's what has increased. Has increased by 25% to the social security. He also made mention for the fact that government has implemented the Ghana Jobs and Skills Project to support skills development and job creation regarding to all pensions activity. Yes, so that's what we have.
That's some good news. as I always say, I hope it is not just something we are saying in words, because just yesterday, some people demonstrated that, you know, their monies were locked up, some pensioners. Yes. And so if we are saying there is this change or transformation in the pension sector, I think it has to impact the lives of the people in that, in that sector.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Please don't forget to send in your comments to our WhatsApp number that will be displayed on your screens. You can even send them to our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Clock TV and you will find us, and join in the conversation. Call a friend and text a friend. So, do you guys have any other news?
Oh, just in a minute. In a minute, I saw something very interesting that I want to just talk about. Okay. So, very hardworking, enterprising journalist takes on a side job, and she sells cocoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, a journalist has taken on a side job selling cocoa on the streets. I think it's something that is also trending. That it is encouraging us that regardless of the economic situations we find ourselves, let's all look for side jobs. Clement.
That's true. That's true.
Now,
because you can't rely on one.
One stream of income.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just about to say that now with the way the economy is going, about 2 or 3 extra cushions for yourself.
It's true.
And as long as the business is booming, and of course there isn't that stigma that it's a job that is branded in a certain way, and is there she or he? She. And she's excelling, then kudos to her. We too will start ours.
Very soon.
Okay. So I have here, we need $5 billion to effectively address flooding nationwide.
Okay.
And this is from the Ghana Hydrological Authority. So, the Ghana Hydrological Authority has announced a need for $5 billion to address the country's flood issues effectively. And in 2023, it received 92 million Ghana cedis under the National Flood Control Program, which it views as inadequate. And Dr. John Kisi, the authority's CEO, emphasized that the $5 billion is essential for comprehensive flood prevention and management nationwide. He also noted that the 92 million Ghana cedis allocated for 2023 is not enough for the necessary flood mitigation efforts. And I quote, "The work that we've done looking at the flood challenges across the country, we estimate that we need about $5 billion across the country to address comprehensively the flood waste challenges we have. That is looking across every city and every town in every region of the country," he stated.
Interesting. Wow. So with the story, yesterday I watched the video, the interaction that went on, and considering the downturn economic, crisis the country is facing, it looks more unrealistic to budget of about $5 billion for such an investment or project. But I think it is high time that we invest in long or large-scale project investments so that it helps us in future rather than doing it in bits. I know they were given $92 million, which is not Ghana cedis, which is not even half, close to $1 billion that they requested. And the issue of flood in this country, we all know. Each and every year, we face situations of flood in this country, which is something that does not look like it's ending anytime soon, right? From large floods to, minor. It doesn't just affect the land and other things, but look at the properties and then the lives, flood, flood issues take all. But you see, all I'm just trying to say is that if we should invest, or if government should have invested the $5 billion in this project, I think it would have helped us or kept some of the repercussions that came afterwards.
Okay. So
you get it?
Yes, I get you. But I'm also from the point that 5 billion United States dollars is not a small amount of money.
I get it.
Even the money we went for from IMF, it's around 3 billion
Yeah.
USD. So what we went to borrow, that we just want to cushion ourselves, is 3 billion, and you are demanding 5 billion USD. So the question is, so I remember when you watched the video, as you said, the chair for the Parliamentary Assurance Committee was surprised. It was like dollars, because it's like huge. Yes, very huge.
Yeah.
So what we want as Ghanaians is the 92 million Ghana cedis. What did you use it for?
Accountability.
Come and account for that. Let's know. Give us the detail. The 92 million, this is what I use it for.
Yeah.
So when Ghanaians get to understand, oh, okay, use the 92 million for this, then let's give you the rest you are requesting for. Because the truth of the matter, this 5 billion won't come any moment from now.
Yeah.
And since that money is not coming, you can't say you are staying just there and waiting till 5 billion comes. You should do something.
Yeah.
And this authority, I read something small about them. It was integrated in 2022, not long ago. Under that's Housing, Ministry of Housing. They integrated this authority. So in 2022, it became an authority. In 2023, they've given you 92 million Ghana cedis. At least you should try to.
You see,
try to work around it, because the truth of the matter is we have a lot of demands in this country. So if one aspect is taking 5 billion, what about the other aspect? What about the other aspect? So the little we get, let's manage it. As you said, let the public know what to use that money for, then we take it from there.
So I want to ask, was there a breakdown as to what this $5 billion will be allocated for?
Yes, there was.
There was, okay. Because I know that off the top of my head, I can pinpoint two main things that are responsible for our floods.
Yeah.
Waste management, and then our settlement patterns in this country. Every and anybody is dumping rubbish anywhere, anyhow. We have dams in this country filled with rubbish. I think in 2019, I saw the Owabi Dam in Ashanti region. It's just full of filth. We have people, like even the other day, we were talking about it, that sometimes the refuse, the bins are put at vantage points. People go and take their home rubbish and come and dump it there, overloading it. And then here, even our waste management on a larger scale is not the best. Because look at all these Zoom Lion and other waste management systems. They don't even come on time. We had Agbogbloshie Market even complaining about the rubbish issues. And then the settlements, our lands here. We have chieftains and landowners and things like that selling, all kinds of lands that have been marked as waterways and things like that. People will build, and then when it rains, your house is standing in the way of that part of the land that should allow water to flow, causing, even there are certain places that are waterlogged that shouldn't have buildings there, and yet we have these things there, and it's causing these floods. So now we even have a sort of term that if you want to rent or buy a house, go in the rainy season.
Sure.
So if you have decided you want 5 billion for this, then I hope that these are some of the things that are going to be addressed. How our waste management is going to be, sensitization of the people as well, because once the government tends to provide one or two things, everybody abide there, and then they don't take that corporate responsibility that we all need, because we have people even till now. I mean, I remember as kids, they used to tell us, don't dump refuse in the gutter, look for a bin. But we still have grown men and women who dump refuse in the gutters and say the water will take it away. Take it away to where? And then the last one, is our rivers. People are encroaching on those water bodies because there's no land. So now the flow of the water it tends to change. It's even drying up and things like that. The water has to find a way around. All of these things are things that should be considered. It shouldn't just be money that we need this large amount of money to handle it. Our choked gutters and rivers, or even water bodies that have so much filth in them. What happened to the desilting? I know, look at Kolegono. Apparently, Kolegono used to be the Kole Lagoon, sorry, it used to be a water body that you could even fish from at a point. But now, if they throw you in it, you will probably die.
Die, of course. Yaira, I'm not trying to sound defensive on the part of the hydrological authority, but you see, all these things that you're mentioning has to do with money, right? And everything that you're saying was budgeted in that 5 billion that they requested for. And so if we only prioritized how we're going to make this effective, I think it would have solved a lot of problems. All these things you are talking about, waste management, you know, high population and all those things, education, sensitization, all these things come with money.
Then I think that they should defend it properly.
Yes.
Give us an extensive explanation of how you're going to use this 5 billion, because 5 billion is a lot.
I understand the point, but my point is we know the current economic issue we find ourselves. And if one authority is demanding 5 billion, what would
the next also,
Ghana Highway Authority also demand for?
So at least give them something close to the amounts they requested for. Because this issue, in as much as there are immediate economic issues, this is a very serious issue that is happening in the country.
5 billion. My point is, what you are using it for, is it feasible enough? Are you going to tell us that you're going to import this or do that? Like, you see how we tend to receive the kind of information that seems, it's almost superficial.
Yeah.
It's like building castles in the air, just saying anything to get our attention. But let's bring it down, because sensitization and education of the people is something that will go a very, very long way.
And
if you've done all the machinery and you don't educate the people, it won't work.
Yeah, not to cut you short. Ghana, the authority, it's full of engineers.
Yeah.
And these engineers, I don't know, but if they are, when you go to various municipal and district assemblies, the building permits given to people to build their houses, it's engineers who are responsible for that.
Okay.
So I don't know. We raise a concern about settlement. You give someone a building permit. You yourself, you are aware that the building permit you are giving to the person, that place is a waterlogged. Why should you give the building permit in the first place? At the end of the day, you want the government to do what? Invest.
And sometimes too, they tell you this is a waterlogged area, and then the person still insists, I want it. I will fill it with, you know, gravels and build on it.
You see, I now understand where Yaira is coming from. Education. You should be able to stop the person. You should be able to stop the person. So this is what that we need to put in place. Let's get to understand that, oh, this place is no-go area. Don't do it. Simple. Let the person understand. Rather than you give the person the go-ahead, the person will build, and if there's flat, and government need to step in. Step in to do what?
And I even forgot to mention recycling. If they are going to talk about the fact that they are going to invest heavily in recycling as a means of waste management, this is something that can get people to back them. But even Ghana, the small recycling we've been doing, what is it even amounting to? Because there's so much plastic waste.
Exactly.
You know, so we need alternatives. We need feasible solutions so that at least this 5 billion can make sense to everybody.
And I also want to add that the 92 million Ghana cedis that was given to them, that they are saying is not enough. Now I'm coming down to Clement and Yaira's level. I just want to tell them that there's no way they're going to get all the 5 billion they want. And so they should have some kind of phased or sectional investment at places that are very vulnerable when it comes to flooding, right? So we look for flood-prone areas and we tackle the issues from that area first, right? They can also partner with, you know, private sectors to, you know...
With that, they've done a lot. Last 2 months, they visited Cape Coast. They were working on the coastal, they've engaged in a lot of that, but we are requesting for bring the breakdown. Let's know what to use it for. I think that's all.
Even with the settlement thing, because of this rural-urban drift, we have so many slums here. I think Accra has one of the highest flood numbers, if I'm not mistaken. And it goes back to just developing the country infrastructure. It's just a vicious cycle we are in. Anyway, yes, Clement, your story.
Yeah, so this is a graphic business. And we have page 9 of Tuesday Graphic Business. He says that 2024 media budget review has IMF program improved our lots 2 years on. So they just want to find out that after we go into IMF, have we gotten any recovery in our aspects of the economy. We want viewers to share their thoughts on this very story. Let's hear their comment. Do you think the IMF has helped us? If yes, let's know. If not, let's know. Yes, that's all I'll say.
So my last story here says, so this one I'm sure Clement will give us extensive explanation. Say you're the businessman. So the next of kin does not automatically inherit the account of the deceased. Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana has issued a notice to clarify the role of a next of kin in bank account matters, correcting the misconception that a next of kin automatically inherits funds from a deceased account holder. The bank explained that next of kin is often misinterpreted, while the next of kin is usually the closest living relative listed as a contact for the account holder. This status does not provide automatic access to or inheritance of the account's funds after the account holder's death. To inherit or access a deceased person's account, an individual must be named as a beneficiary in the will or obtain letters of probate or be appointed as an administrator through letters of administration if no will exists.
I don't agree with Bank of Ghana on
if it was debt, the next of kin would have been liable.
Why should this be too difficult? Why? I have chosen someone to be my next of kin. If I'm no more, give everything I have to the person. Why should this be difficult?
So, Mimi, let's calm down.
Take us to church.
This is not church. This is banking sector. So coming down, I don't know, but those of us here, maybe during your opening of account, you use, let's say, your sister or let's say your mother as your next of kin. Maybe you happen not to change it till you passed on. Before you make such a decision that you want your mom to be your next of kin, did you thought enough that when you are no more, or did you think enough that when you are no more, she will be the one to take over the finances or the money in the account?
Yes, I
you
did.
had that good decision. Yeah, right, you did.
Yes, I have nobody, my mother.
So the person should take charge.
Yeah.
So I think what Bank of Ghana is trying to say, yes, next of kin is banking regulation. It's a requirement.
Yeah.
If you don't provide it, you can't open an account there. But that doesn't mean that the person has sole control of your account or of your money when the person
They started with access. You are talking about control. At least with control, you already have access. This one is access.
Yeah, so let me get there. That means the person does not have control over the money in the account. Why? Because maybe when I was alive, I have my will. When you go to the PNDC law 111, it talks about inheritance. And in inheritance, they make you understand that the will, if you have a will, the will supersede this next of kin that we are talking about. But if there's no will that to the PNDC law would also exceed the next of kin. So what Bank of Ghana is trying to tell us is that though you have a next of kin, but the person does not have access to the account. Before you get access to your account, you need to have a letter of, I think you talked about it, probate, right?
Probate or letters of administration.
Or letters of administration before the person gets access to the account.
So if I understand right, if I name Clement as my next of kin in my bank account, and then Mimi is my first daughter and she's supposed to inherit maybe a certain percentage of my, well, that would be a conflict.
If that is in your will.
In my will. So in my will, if Mimi is named and then you are named in my bank account, then Mimi would have to.
Yes.
Then they should put it that way.
So the perception of the next of kin is just to contact the person in case of emergency. That's the meaning of next of kin.
So you can contact.
They should have just explained it.
So you can contact the person, but you can't give the person their money to go and bury.
The money, no, you can't give the person.
But okay, so if I was in debt, maybe I owed some money to Bank of Ghana, and now my next of kin.
Oh yeah, so in emergency, it's emergency issues.
They have to contact your next of kin.
So with that one, does my next of kin have automatic access to this debt that they have to pay?
That is a question for the gods.
So when it happens like that, you are next of kin. So they'll call you that this A, B, or C had happened. So if you have a means that you can help out, you do that. You do that. Maybe you sit with, let's say, myself and Mimi is my next of kin. I'm owing Mimi would now have to sit down with me. How are you going to pay the debt and everything? That is how it's going to work. So next of kin is just there in case of emergency.
And I also think in
that's it.
situations where you don't have a will, as Clement said, you have to ensure that the person you are putting as your next of kin has all the necessary information
Yes,
about you
That's it.
and their accounts.
That's it.
So they can take it from there if you are no more.
So that you can even go and get the letter of administration.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Then,
So it's not just anybody. It should
not
be
just
somebody that you know is at least
Because
elite.
I think
the
we need to
Bank
get
of Ghana
a lawyer.
released a notice on
Okay.
this. That was on 27th of August. That is when the information was out, and they said something. Let me read something small. He said the next of kin is one of such requirements during account opening in Ghana. There is no specific statutory definition of next of kin. It generally refers to an account holder's closest living relative who could be contacted in the event the account holder is not reachable.
Okay.
That is the meaning of next of
Okay,
kin.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Then I think we need to get a lawyer here
Yeah.
very soon to come and teach us about, know,
Yeah.
putting together a will, all those legal things.
And this shouldn't also be a secret, next of kin. If your brother is your next of kin, just tell him.
Sometimes it can cause family rivalry and things like that.
Just
so.
tell him in secret, or in passing.
So what? Nigerian
Nigerian
movies, he hears you. You've made him next of kin. He will kill you. to take your money. Okay. So do we have any more stories?
There was a story on Water
Okay.
Limited, right?
Yes,
Do
they said
you
they
have-
want to make sure that every corner of Ghana has access to water by 2030. Yes.
So I was so much interested in that story because they made reference to the SDG 6.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the Sustainable Development
Goal
6. And what does it say? SDG 6 said something. Let me quickly read. It says that seek to ensure safe drinking water and sanitation for all, focusing on the sustainable management of water resources, waste water and ecosystem, and acknowledging the importance of enabling environment. So that is what SDG 6 says. And it says in 2023, Agenda for Sustainable Development countries have committed to engage in systematic follow-up and review of progress towards the goals and targets using a set of global indicators. And SDG says, or the Sustainable Development Goal has a lot of indicators.
Yeah.
And as at 2022, indicator 6.1.1 says that 73% of the world's population uses safely managed drinking water service.
Okay.
So that's 73% of the whole world population.
Wow.
So we have a chunk of number that's 27% who are not using safe drinking water. You see, when it comes to our community, you have a lot of places where they are either relying on borehole and wells and stuff. It's just like water, getting access to safe drinking water sometimes is difficult.
Yeah.
So they rely on that. It's good that Ghana Water Limited says that they want, by 2030, they want to get access to all these places.
I hope
and
they will take into consideration, as the SDG mentions water resources. So our
Yes, they
rivers
did.
that are being polluted,
by
I
illegal
hope that
mining activities.
they take those into account as well, and
Yes.
And
whatever
also,
treatments they can give to our poor rivers.
before they embark on anything, I think there should be community engagement.
Yes.
Because you need to ask the people what they really want. I know some communities that do not want pipe water.
Hey.
They will prefer borehole, maybe to something different, right? So they should ask them, or even at the point where the pipe water is going to be instituted, they have to ask them. So there should be some kind of engagement with the community members so they get to know. And also with the quality of water, they should make sure that it is very quality.
Yes.
It shouldn't just be running water.
So maybe with that, let me talk about the quality of water. According to SDG indicator, they did a survey in Ghana.
Yeah.
So as of 2022, SDG indicator 6.1.1 says that 44% of the population of Ghana have access to safely managed drinking water service. That's 44%.
Wow.
Yes. And they also said, according to the 6.3.2 2023 SDG indicator, it says 83% of monitored water bodies in Ghana has good ambient water quality. Yes, 83%. Do you agree with them?
Good ambient. So it's
Good
just
ambient water quality.
aesthetics.
It's
The way
just
it
the
looks.
surface, but when you take it, it is not really quality. Just like the water we take at Pokwase.
So
They say it is pipe water, but when you can't drink it, it's just for bathing.
okay, so last, let me just say one thing they talked about Ghana. Is that according to the indicator 6.5.1, it says that 60% is the degree of implementation of integrated water resources management in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes. And I don't know, what the interview with the PRO, I think, it was a PRO was speaking to the press on this very issue. And he made mention that there are a lot of plans that Ghana Water Company is putting in place in doing or making sure that in 2030 they get access to 100%. That's the target they are out talking about. And he made reference to 2020 salt cutter. Yes. I was so much interested because I really wanted to follow if that project is completed. But I know in next time, Express Update will bring viewers such information. I followed some of the sword cutting. As at 8 October 2020, the president cut sword at Shirigu, that's Upper East region, for water plant treatment or waste treatment. And it's all in line. How far with that project? It's all in line with the SDG 6 goal that they were talking about. On 10th October, same 2022, there was a sword cutting at one municipality, particularly at Perisi. It's also in line with this waste management, that SDG 6 goal. So he talked in reference to all these things that the president did. And on 9th September 2022, there was another sword cutting at Techiman South Municipality, that's the Bono East region. Also in line with all this. Yes, they've done very well, but I want to see how far with that project.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Well, like we always say, we are hoping for the best.
Especially Pokwase people, we are hoping for the best.
Pokwase people, yes, the government will come through for you. Okay.
Because I'm surprised. We are in Accra and we don't have access to water, pipe water.
I think being Accra is the requirement.
But were you aware? You at Oyarifa, Oyebi. I think on 25th of August, Ghana Water Company brought a notice about water supply. It's going to be. You saw that at Dodowa, Ojibi, Oyarifa. They're not going to get access to water sake of a disruption. Yes. So someone said even Labadi, they are not getting access to.
Labadi, they can.
They should enter the beach.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me here today to review the top stories that we got. And I hope to see you again next week, bright and early. Yes, this brings us to the end of the online and newspaper review here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Up next is the lifestyle segment. I know you've been stolen from you, right? You do the arithmetic and you realize that no, nobody has stolen. Yes. Miriam and her guests will be here to educate us on how to save money, how to be more financially literate, and even be able to manage our finances better. So before I switch to Mimi, we have a comment here from Sefas Dusu, and he says, "Good morning, Clog TV. How can we achieve this SDG target when we fail to do anything about how Galamsey is destroying our water bodies?" Thank you so much for your comment or your question. We mentioned it, right? The water bodies thing, yes. So
last Tuesday I talked about the River Pra.
I have to also comment that Santehene for distilling two chiefs who were, known for Galamsey activities.
So they were in bed with them.
And it is a very remarkable step that we need to commend him for. And I think if other, leaders can take the same measure, I think we'll all get somewhere. Because to distill a chief is not...
It's not a small thing. It will serve as deterrence to the others so that they can also sit up. So, up next is the lifestyle segment. We are going to be learning about financial policy, managing our finances and saving. So, right after this break, Miriam and her guests will be here to educate us. Call your friends who don't know how to save. Let them come and listen and be educated and informed. We will be right back.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
This time I will make damn sure that he stays dead.
I don't know how to stop him.
You start by letting people help you.
But he's gonna come after you.
Let him come. I'm not that easy to kill.
There's a new player we've been tracking. We've been calling him Deathstroke. Find him.
This started with the two of us. That's how it ends.
You can't go out there by yourself. It's suicide.
They're designated Task Force X.
Welcome to the Suicide Squad.
OJ and Charles Manson one available?
Deadshot is a go.
Shrapnel's a go.
Tiger's a go.
I created the Huntress.
Yeah, well, you created Slade too.
I have my allies, just as you have yours.
Be prepared for anything.
If they're wearing a mask, they get a bullet.
Once you let the darkness inside, it never comes out.
What are you gonna do? Kill me.
Kepkos, are you ready? Party time, time to cheer and chill. Pimpamsia Hotel Official Beer Festival is here again. What's your favorite? Club, Star, Budweiser, Golda, Estella? It's a 3-day party pack. Last year was great, but it's gonna be super this trip. Friday, 6 September, all white old school vibe with the evergreen Closec band, where we'll relax ourselves and pamper our ears with some good old school music. The time is 6 p.m. till we drop. Saturday, 7 September, where my reggae lovers. It's a reggae night with Closec band featuring Ras Alfred and Ras Weezy. You can't miss out on this great experience. On Sunday, 8 September, who lifts the title Pimpamsia Football Gala as the Accra Cup Kwabo Trio Gasco National Adisado Agwe Memorial. Come and cheer your favorite team up. The children's playgrounds will be in session with bouncy castle, trampoline, face painting, and many other fun games with popcorn on the side, and it's free for all. The time is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bring all children to have great fun. And there's also going to be special club night on Friday and Saturday night with DJ Master Flavor, DJ Fingers, and DJ Effects all the way from the UK. Come and let's party in grand style. For more inquiries, call us on 030-396-0345 or on 056-151-2407. Pimpamsia Hotel Afeshia Beer Festival. Don't miss out. This event will be broadcasted live by Clog TV.
There is no beer. That is why we be drinking all the beer.
I need my gun, Kane. I need the gun.
You will have the gun as soon.
Where are you?
I got a 1013. A Vic near Center Street.
Live!
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
motivation, you should know it's J Scratch on the beat.
Kwaku Darlington.
Hey, hey, hey. Yo, Tom.
Yeah, Brantia.
Rockstar.
Okay, this, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sikani, Bakuni,
claiming outstanding. It's you, of course, they are outstanding. Yen I'm Yuko, we are landing Brandon song. I'm this a rap and pong. It's an Amelie, I'm a funny coco, so come when the mic is on.
Anything better than money there. We are brand here, you may be a family. Yeah. Hey, yeah. When I talk to them, we talk back. It's the remix. Kwame Eugene, bro, your mind there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell with the master suit. Nancy Capra with the gang can do. Sikini B. Service, yeah, best yes, Sika, and yet. You don't know, say, can you Kwaku? Oh, yes, I mean, every damn on my way. You pay me a few pow. You be penny a Kwabantia, coaching, this is Cabefie. You be penny a Kwabantia, coaching, this is Cabefie. You be see Cabefie. Frisa Busia of you. Frisa Busia of you. Me shoot my bomb, me tie me bag in me tea. Obian to me stop me, say yes, he coming to. I said, yes, man, did it. Timmy, Timmy, Mango, hustle every time, and to say me. I still do online. You coffee me, I'm alive. I'll be to me, baby. Any of our ones, I could change this. Yeah, the any of our ones, I could change this.
And you're welcome back. That was Sika Befie by Kwaku Darlington featuring Kwame Eugene, Kwaku Flake, Family, and also Yao Talk. Almost Sika Befie. Yes, today we are talking about something that is very essential to not just to our wallets or our pockets, but to our overall health. And we are going to be discussing, the basic forms of financial management on the lifestyle segment. I am Miriam Abna Adede, and this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. We welcome you back to the show. I have my guest with me in the studio, but before I introduce him, maybe you probably will be saving for that dream future, that family, that lifestyle you've always wanted. It is very important for you to understand the basic forms of financial management so you can live a stress-free life to save towards that goal, that dream, that vacation you want. And that is the conversation we are going to be having today on the show. Now, I have with me a financial expert. And he is a detail-oriented finance professional with a proven track record of dynamic leadership and remarkable achievement in the investment management sector. He currently leads the client's coverage team at Stanbic Investment Management Services with nearly a decade of experience. And so you know the kind of conversation we are bringing to you. It is not really something, you know, technical. It is going to be basic, but very, very informative. And I have with me Desmond Bredu.
And good morning to our viewers as well.
Good morning, Desmond.
It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you doing? I can smell money all over you.
God has been good. I'm fine. I'm well. Life is going well. Like always, we always look forward to the next thing. We always look forward to being better, to improving every day. So, yes. Can I ask you how you're also doing?
I'm doing so great because, you know, payday is just at the corner. So, Sika Ebefi.
Nice. It was a nice song.
Right. So, we are discussing the basic forms of financial management. To you, how would you say or describe what financial management is to, you know, your day-to-day life?
So, when you talk about financial management, just to break it down, it's just making decisions about your money or your finances on a daily basis, like you rightly mentioned. But for me, fundamentally, we're looking at 4 questions that you ask yourself. So the first one is, how much money am I making? How much am I spending? How much am I saving? And how much I can improve. And that's all that financial management is about. In simple terms, how much money am I making? I earn 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis, 2,000 cedis. Out of the 2,000 cedis, how much can I save? I'm able to save 10 cedis, 20 cedis. How much do I spend? It means I spend 1,950. And how then can I improve? Does it mean I need to make more money? You understand? So that's the basics. Now, if you look at it on a broader scale, then you can talk about, say, savings, budgeting, investments. And I heard you guys talk about wills, inheritance planning, legacy. So in basic form, how much money you make, how much you spend, how much you save, and how you can improve. And that's all financial management is about.
Wow. So we just got started with a conversation, and if you're struggling with your finances, this conversation is for you. Call a friend, call a family member, that friend of yours that you know has been, you know, spending a lot. Call him or her to join the conversation. You can send in your your messages to our WhatsApp number, which has been displayed on the screen, and also via our streams, our live streams on Facebook and also YouTube, and we'll gladly answer all your questions. Now, Desmond, how does managing finance, you know, impact our overall life?
You know, it's really crucial. You see, sometimes if you don't have money, everything annoys you in this world. So it's really important because it not just affects just you, but it affects how you relate with other people. And so for me, so put it this way. On a daily basis, we have a lot of stresses, maybe family, relationships, and everything in between. Then you compound it with the financial management bit, or the money stressing, or you also. It becomes even much more difficult for you. And so for me, managing money, for me, it's a basic skill that you need to have, because again, not everybody has so much money. And so the little that you have, you need to find a way to manage so that at least you are not stressed also on that side. Again, it also talks about 2 things with respect to either you are increasing your income or you're reducing your expenses. And so if you think of how money can affect your lifestyle every day, it's really about maybe the mental bit as well as how you can improve upon it. Yes.
Right. And I'm so glad you're an expert, because we are going to take a lot from you, especially from your personal experiences. So tell us, on a normal day, how do you manage your finances?
So for me, I always say that the first thing for me is I am aware of my situation. I'm aware of the things I can afford and the things I cannot afford to do. So if my friends tell me that, okay, let's do this, let's go here, let's buy this, I'm aware that, okay, maybe I may not afford it. And so for me, the honest self-assessment is really important. And I think that for everybody, if, for example, again, just relating to like a normal person, if let's say your kid asks you to buy maybe a toy or a particular thing, when I was growing up, I didn't understand when my mom said that,
She doesn't have money.
She doesn't have money.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. But now that I'm an adult, I understand because there are things that she can afford to do and things that she cannot afford to do. So that's the first part of the conversation. Have that honest self-reflection. You could even go into further details and say, okay, how much do I, or what do I own? Who do I owe? How much money do I make? A lot of things can come to play. But again, it's all about the honest self-assessment. And I do this on a regular basis. Because again, as I make day-to-day decisions, if somebody says, okay, there's an opportunity here, can I actually afford to do that? So that's the first thing I always do. The second thing that has saved my life is paying myself first.
Okay.
It's a weird concept, but what it essentially means is that if you make your income, or if you're paid your salary, you need to take a portion and dedicate that to yourself as the gift to your future self.
Okay.
Now here's why. You make a salary of say 1,000 cedis and you end up paying electricity bill, water bill, every other bill. What you've become is what we call an income redistribution center.
Okay.
You get the income and you redistribute to other people. What are you giving to yourself? And so for me, what has really, really helped me a lot is once I get paid, the first thing I do is to move a portion out of my bank account, either to an investment, I'm sure we'll talk about investment later on, or to anything that I know that I will not spend that money on. Again, in my experience,
I have a follow-up question to this. Can I ask? Okay, so what goes into deciding, that portion of amount of money you want to pay yourself?
So another thing I need to mention is that personal finances is absolutely personal. And I just keep talking about it. For somebody, that percentage, I mean, you need to drop a budget. So maybe you can drop it, and I'll speak on it a little bit. But for me, the most important thing is the consistency and the discipline.
Okay.
So I know that I'll be able to consistently put aside 50 cedis, 100 cedis every month. And that is the portion that I know after drawing my budget, that's what I can dedicate. You don't be in a situation where you say, oh, this month I'll do 2,000 cedis. Meanwhile, you earn 2,500 cedis. So for me, it's the discipline with what figure, what amount. Again, some books will tell you that, oh, do 20% of your income. For somebody earning 1,000 cedis, 20% will not probably be realistic. If it is 10 cedis, if it is 50 cedis, if it is 100 cedis, you can actually put aside consistently, do it. And so for me, I always say that relate it to your personal situation. 10 cedis, 100 cedis, it really depends on you. Now, back to the earlier point. Again, in my experience, if I don't save before spending, I end up with nothing. Because again, I also my experience because if I see the money in my account, I'll be tempted to, let's do here and there. But once I've taken that portion out of the money, I know that I have only 900 cedis left, and that is what I can manage. And so for me, those are the two important things. I mean, I can talk about more, but honest self-assessment and also taking your saving component first before you think of spending.
Someone will also say, okay, well, I've taken out, let's say, 500 cedis. I'm being paid 2,000, and I'm taking out 500 to pay myself. At the end of the month, or getting to the end of the month, I spent my 1,500, and then I have to still get into my account for the 500 Ghana cedis. What do you think is the problem in there?
So you see, one thing is that fundamentally, we don't like budgeting. Because if you earn 2,000 cedis, and you don't have a budget, you know that probably the 500 cedis that you are putting aside or you are spending may not be everything. Maybe you have other obligations. Maybe you're paying rent or allocation towards rent. You are doing family bits here and there. So for me, the first step is to know that, okay, how much can I consistently put aside? And so again, what I used to do is that, okay, even if I put aside 500 cedis I want to put aside, I break into say 2 or 3 components. Now after the 500 cedis, 100 cedis is a no-go area. So even if I dip into the 500 cedis, I know that the 100 cedis, that is a no-go area, and that is for my future self. So it's okay. Again, sometimes, Ghana is hard. So we need to know that, okay, it's not everything, it's not every day that you'll be able to save that amount consistently, but you probably have to have a minimum threshold that you know that, okay, below the 100 cedis, I'm not touching it. That's for me. Again, you can't say that you're going to most of the money you will not spend and you just go and...
But with this, should the person have some number of years in mind to save that amount of money consistently, or it should just be like a normal thing that the person wants to do?
No, so when it comes to savings, first, let me just try and distinguish between savings and investment. I'll come to that.
Yeah.
So you see, when you save, it's like you putting money aside for a future expense. Or when you are saying that, okay, let's say you've done your budget and you choose to spend, let's say you can spend 100 cedis in a day, but you choose to spend 60 cedis. You've saved the 40 cedis. But you save to invest. You don't just save and keep it there. Now, when it comes to your question that you asked, for me, you don't just save for saving's sake. You need to have a goal in mind. For me, for young people that were watching, there are 5 goals you need to have.
Okay.
The first one is for your retirement. The second is for maybe your first property, your children's education, legacy, and enjoyment. So those are the 5 goals. Again, retirement, your first property, children's education, sharing or legacy, and enjoyment. And so if you know that, okay, I'm retiring in 20 years' time or 30 years' time, then you can say, okay, I'm saving 100 cedis towards my retirement. If I know I'm enjoying in December, which is 2 months' time or 3 months' time, I know that, okay, I need to do something short term to get to that December. So for me, whatever you choose to save or invest in, you need to know that what is the end goal? What am I trying to achieve here? And that's for me the most important thing. Don't just save. Otherwise, if something comes up, we just dip into it and you just spend it. Yes. So have the goal in mind.
Okay. So the goal also means your motivation, right?
Exactly.
Wow. So what if I'm a young person? I don't intend having kids anytime soon. Even if I should have kids, it's my husband's responsibility to take care of them. Right? And I also I'm, saving just for enjoyment. Is that also possible?
So you see, enjoyment, and sometimes, I remember I did a program and I told them that enjoyment is very important because, first of all, we only live once. And it's not always good to say that, okay, I'm keeping this, because probably, we talk about next of kin. Next of kin will come and enjoy everything in between. But you see, you shouldn't only focus on the enjoyment at the expense of your other goals. So yes, enjoyment is important, but again, we often think that, retirement is far. If not for anything, think of your retirement. You can't work for the rest of your life. So if not for anything at all, think of it. And we have this thing in Ghana where we say, my children, my retirement. But you see, that's not the case. Already, Ghana is hard. So if you're going to put extra bedding, it's going to be another problem. And so for me, not for anything at all, create the kind of retirement that you want. If you want to rely on, for example, SNIT, some pay as low as 300 or 400 cedis a month. Ask yourself, what will that do for you? And so if not for anything at all, the retirement bit should also be important as much as your enjoyment is also important.
Enjoyment is very, very necessary. I'm so much concerned about that. But if you just joined us, we've been having a conversation here with Desmond Bredu, a financial management expert, and he's taking us into the basic forms of managing our finances, and that is the conversation we've been having. You can join us by sending in your messages to our WhatsApp number, which has been displayed on the screen, and also you can call and ask any question you want to ask, pertaining to the topic for discussion. And I know Desmond is going to do just to that. I'm really enjoying this conversation because when it comes to money, it's very serious. Now, let's talk about investment. It looks very intimidating. A lot of people do not want to invest. I started working not too long ago, and the first advice my father gave me was not to invest. Save your money, put it in a susu box. Don't give it to any bank. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, so
I'm really happy that I distinguish between savings and investment. Because if not for anything at all, we have something we call inflation. And inflation is just the general increase in price levels. So for instance, today you buy something for 100 cedis. In a year's time, you probably need 120 cedis to buy the same thing. But if you keep the money in the susu box or under your bed, or somewhere that I might just keep the money, in a year's time, it's still the same 100 cedis. But you probably need more money to buy the same item. Now, back to your question. Yes, I mean, in our current experience, people have a lot of bad experience with investment now, and rightly so, they have a reason for concern. But for me, if not for anything at all, inflation still erodes the value of your wealth or your money away. And so you need to protect it. Now, coming to investment, people always think that investment is only financial assets. investment is both financial asset and non-financial asset. Now, think about it this way. If you choose to put your money in a business, you are still investing your money.
Okay.
If you choose to put your money or buy, let's say, land, and say, okay, I hope to resell this land in 2-3 years' time, it's still an investment for you.
Yeah.
If you choose to say, put your money in a ride-hailing business and buy a car for that purpose, it's also investment for you. If you choose to put your money in a treasury bill, in a fixed deposit, in a mutual fund, it is still investment. And so for me, whether you choose to even invest or not, it's a risk. If you choose not to invest and keep your money in your bank account or keep your money even under your bed, for instance, a thief can break into your house and steal it.
Yeah.
If you choose to put your money in a business, the business can even go down.
Yeah.
And so for me, you need to invest. It's not like, oh, I can choose not to invest.
Yeah.
If not for anything, they are both non-financial and financial assets to invest in. But if you want to invest, for me, you need to ask yourself 3 fundamental questions. The first thing is, Mimi, what is my investment objective? What am I investing for? Am I investing for my retirement, for medical expense, for travel, for enjoyment? It's for anything. You can invest for anything at all. The next thing is that, okay, I should know that whatever I choose to put my money in, there's risk involved. Matter of fact, when I was driving here to here, it's risk. Because somebody can just hit your car, for instance. Even if you are sleeping, there's risk involved. And so you choosing whether to invest or not to invest, there's risk involved. Then the most crucial bit is, am I willing and able to take on this risk? And that's, for me, it will answer your question whether this investment is for you or not for you. Really important.
Before I come to your own personal, experience with investment, I have a question that I want to ask. There was this lady that made mention of the fact that she's not going to invest because even, I'm talking about monetary investments, even if she should invest her money, the currency doesn't, or the value of the money does not increase, even in the next 10 years. So just as you're saying, if I should save it in my Sisu box, it is still going to be the same thing. So why don't I save in maybe a foreign currency?
I'll address your question on 2 levels, right? So the first part is that if you choose not to invest and keep it in the Sisu box, you suffer the full effect of inflation. And so if inflation is 20%, if next year you need 120, you still have to burden that 20%. If you choose to invest and you get even say 15%, that's 115 CDs. And so you only need 5 CDs to top up. And so the lesser of 2 evils, either you're suffering the full effect of inflation or at least investing a little, getting some small returns, and just be able to bridge the little gap that's left. And so that's the first part. The second part about the foreign currency is always interesting. And I always get this question many a time, right?
There was no way I was going to ask you this question because...
So you see, in fact, I did a video on my YouTube channel why you should not convert your currency into foreign currency, your local currency. And that was a few years ago. And when the whole CD deflation started, I could see some really wonderful comments under my YouTube channel.
I'll have to go and look at it after this interview.
Fundamentally, if we ought to change our CD into dollar or into pound or whatever currency, we end up putting more pressure on the local currency. And so we call this a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, we know the CD will depreciate. Let me help appreciate. And by changing your money, it's like you don't need the dollar. But somebody probably even needs it to maybe buy some goods and services. But you are probably just hoarding the dollar. So you're taking a bit of the money away from the system. Again, if demand keeps increasing and supply is low, the price would go up. And that's what we keep putting pressure on the currency or local CD. Again, if you have some dollar obligations and you want to hedge against it, absolutely, you can have some foreign currency. Another thing is that if you're looking at as diversification, where you have local currency investment, you want to have foreign currency investment, it's also fine. And so it's just a mixture of what is really the motivation. Are you just speculating? Are you just keeping the money just because you want to convert your currency into dollar and just keep it? What is the essence? And the problem is, if we all do the conversion, what will happen is that it will translate into our price levels. Again, everything we spend on, so it's pegged to the dollar. And so if the person, again, dollar goes up, you want to buy something, the person tells you that, oh, now, if I'm going to import, the dollar will probably go up again. And so they will increase the price for you. So it's really important that we know or have that mentality that if you don't have any dollar obligation or foreign currency, there's no need to convert your money. But if you have that obligation, absolutely, and for also for diversification.
So for me,
Yes.
who wishes to save because I'm scared the value of the money will depreciate anytime soon, is it safe for me to save in a foreign currency?
Again, so if that is your motivation and that's your end goal, that you want to just save in that foreign currency, absolutely. But again, it shouldn't be a situation where we are all trying to convert our CD to dollars just for that purpose. Because again, like I said, we'll end up all bearing the brunt of it. We'll end up paying more for the things we buy.
So we have a question here, and this is from Nana Kwame, and he's asking, what are the different sources of financial management?
Sources of financial management?
Yeah.
I mean, that's very difficult to answer because I don't know what it means. But when we talk about financial management, there are some 6 key components. You can talk about your goal setting, what kind of goals you have. You can talk about debt management. You can talk about savings and investment. You can talk about risk management, like insurance, for instance. You can talk about other parts, like, say, the will, inheritance, legacy. But in terms of sources, I'm not sure what the question is.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we'll be wrapping up shortly, but let me ask you this very important question. How do we balance the money we save for future and then the one we use for enjoyment? I'm more particular about the enjoyment, but...
Enjoyment is important.
I want to know the balance.
So you see, again, for me, again, let me go back to my earlier point. Personal finance is personal. And so for somebody, it is 1,000 CDs they can put aside for enjoyment and 5,000 CDs for their retirement. For somebody, it's only 50 they can put for enjoyment. And so for me, you need to know your specific context. And so the first thing I can tell you is that please take time to draw up a budget for yourself with your goals that you have in mind. And you know that, okay, if I have 1,000 CDs to save or to put away, which of them is more important to me? Is it the retirement? Is it my first property? Or is the enjoyment? Then you can make allocations to it. So for example, you can put aside 500 CDs. You say that, okay, out of 500 CDs, 250 is for my retirement. 150 is for maybe my rent I'm paying in a year's time. The other 150 CDs, or the 100 CDs is for my enjoyment, my dirty December. That's how you categorize it. It's really important.
Right. My last question.
No, more than happy to answer.
Debt, we all know debt is a reality. You can't take that out of life. How do we also balance, trying to pay our debt and also trying to live a healthy life?
Yes. I mean, it's really important, right? Because some people, again, depending on who you listen to, some will tell you that, oh, debt is not good, debt is bad. But for me, it depends on what the motivation is. If you are funding your wants with debt, it is not helping you. Or if the things you are buying with the debt, it doesn't have any long-lasting value, you are not making any money out of it.
You have to reiterate that again.
With respect to
what you just said. State it again.
Okay, so when it comes to debt, it depends on who you listen to. Whether it is, some people tell you that it's not a good debt, some people tell you that it's a bad debt. But when you are funding your debt, your wants with debt, so for example, because there's a new iPhone in town, you choose to buy, not because your phone is done anything, not because maybe you need a better phone to do maybe your YouTube channel or your influencer or whatever it is. You just want to buy a new phone and you want to borrow somebody's money to do that. Or you want to borrow somebody's money to buy new clothing just because you want to just maybe get some new clothing. You are funding your wants with debt. And that is not a good place to be. And so for me, that is where you need to have that angle of or looking from it at. I don't want to fund my needs that I want to fund. Again, be mindful of high interest when you're going for the debt and what went them. Again, some people will tell you that, oh, and they'll come to you in a nice way and say, oh, it is only 5% a month. 5% a month is times 12 is 60% a year. And so even for your business, be mindful of the kind of debt you take. Just ask a bit more questions before you choose to.
Desmond, in your own words, how would you advise people to stay informed with financial management, education on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. And for me, again, staying informed means that either reading books or YouTube channels or videos, speaking to professionals. And so if people want to speak to me about finances or money, more than happy to engage them on it. But again, please be deliberate about it. And so if it's YouTube you want to watch videos on, and programs like this, you need to, like you said, call other people to watch and
right. So we have a question here. Good morning. Emmanuel here. I want to ask a question on my Sims account. Since Mr. Desmond is from Stanbic, I'm having the Stanbic Income Fund Trust account, which I deposit into. Mistakenly, I deposited into the cash trust and asked the bank to push to the income fund. They did, but I did not get any interest on that amount. Why?
I think you should just follow up. Maybe I'll put my details. Just send the details.
Okay, so you can just do that. Yes. Put out your.
So if you want
handles,
to reach out to me, mostly I'm very active on Twitter.
Okay.
At Desmond Bredu.
Yeah.
Facebook is Desmond Bredu, and also Instagram as well. But if you want to also reach out to Stanbic Investment, we're on the 4th floor of Stanbic Heights.
Okay.
You come to us. We're more than happy to engage you on a personal level to understand what you're looking for before we choose investment options for you. So come to us at 4th floor of Stanbic Heights.
Yeah.
We're more than happy to engage you. But if you want to reach out to me, the best place is either Twitter or LinkedIn. This one,
yes. Or your personal phone number. That is not.
No, that's not.
Right.
Okay. My email is askdesmondbredu@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I have to emphasize on the fact that he's very active on Twitter or X. That is where we got him from, and he was just, apt. He had to, respond to us quickly, and we are so grateful to have you on the show this morning. Thank you so much. And I hope you have learned a lot from our conversation today, discussing the basic forms of financial management. And I know henceforth we are all going to, manage our finances well, because December is just at the corner, you know what I mean, right? So this is where we end the lifestyle segment. We have amazing personalities to celebrate on the birthday segment. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
All right, so you're welcome back, and we are still here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am Miriam Abnadede. Now the birthday segment is up. Let's take our first birthday celebrant. Our first birthday celebrant is Madam Hajara, aka Hajia Mame Papebi. Glorious birthday to my Kuma Bakope. God bless you for everything you have been doing for the family. Much love. And this is from me, a personal message. Love you so much. And we also have this from Marcelo, and it is to Ethel Mingle. Okay. On your special day and always, I wish you happiness, adventure, and memories to treasure. You are an incredible friend and an inspiring person. Cheers to another fantastic year. And this is to Mr. and Mrs. Valentine Vojogbe. Okay, celebrating 26 years in marriage. Wow. May your love continue to shine brightly. Wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. Congratulations on another year of love and laughter. Here's to many more years of togetherness. May your love story keep inspiring others. And this is to Mr. John Annabelle Kofi. From your children, they are saying a happy birthday to the world's best dad. May you live long to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This from your children. And we also have this from Abna Boabing to Mrs. Boham. Happy birthday, Mrs. Boham. Wishing you a day filled with joy, love, and all the wonderful things you deserve. You are such an amazing person, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. May this year bring you endless happiness and good health. Cheers to you on your special day. Okay, a happy birthday to my baby boy. You brought so much joy to your brothers and I. God bless your new age. Much love from your family and mom, Mankwa Evelyn. Right, a happy birthday to the love of my life, my beautiful wife. On your special day and always, I want you to know how much you are appreciated, admired, and adored. You light up my world with your radiant smile, kind heart, and loving spirit. May this year bring you joy, happiness, and all your heart desires. I promise to always cherish, support, and love you more with each passing day. Here's to another amazing year together with all my love now and forever. Oh, from Ransford. Okay, so this is also from Eric. Happy birthday, Stephen. God bless you. And we have a video here to celebrate a man sent on a mission to spread the word to the world. A huge blessing to this generation, a man full of wisdom and godly insight. We are celebrating a 70th birthday of Bishop George. Today happens to be your birthday. God richly bless you for that. So we have a few celebrities to celebrate as part of our August month, and that was Nana Mama Brown. We also have former Interior Minister Kafui Danku, and actress Becca, and musician Destiny Etiko, a Nigerian actress Mercy Johnson. We also have Moses Bless's wife, and Odeshieba Prissy, Too Sweet Anan, and Fela Makafui. Right, so this is where we end the birthday segment here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am Miriam Abnadede. Please stay with us. Clement Yabankwe is up next with business.
I heard today was your birthday.
Clog TV, Beyond the Policy.
Jane, when you lose your virginity, you can't ever go back.
Jane made a promise.
Stop! We should stop. You've been dating for 2 years and you haven't boned.
But sometimes life... You're pregnant.
But I've never had sex!
...makes a surprise delivery.
I accidentally inseminated you 2 weeks ago.
You what? I'm not ready to be a mom.
You have become the best part of my life, and this will be the best part of your life, too.
Jane.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pilot has switched on and fastened seatbelt signs. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
Don't worry. It's gonna be over. We must have been at about 40,000 feet when it happened. Hit an air pocket. Dropped. But we crashed 1,000 miles off course. They were looking for us in the wrong place.
Stranded on an island. No one's coming for us.
What was that? Did anybody see that?
Terrific. My main concern is keeping us alive.
Kepkus, are you ready? Party time, time to cheer and chill. Pimpamsia Hotel Official Beer Festival is here again. What's your favorite? Club, Star, Budweiser, Golda, Estella? It's a 3-day party pack. Last year was great, but it's gonna be super this trip. Friday, 6th September, all white old school vibe with the Evergreen Closec Band, where we'll relax ourselves and pamper our ears with some good old school music. The time is 6 p.m. till we drop. Saturday, 7th September, where my reggae lovers. It's a reggae night with Closec Band featuring Brass Alfred, Fred and Rasweezy. You can't miss out on this great experience. On Sunday, 8 September, who lifts the title, Pimpamsia Football Gala, as the Accra Cup Kwabotrio Gasco National Adisado Agwe Memorial. Come and cheer your favorite team up. The children's playgrounds will be in session with bouncy castle, trampoline, face painting, and many other fun games. With popcorn on the side and it's free for all. The time is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bring all children to have great fun. And there's also going to be special club night on Friday and Saturday night with DJ Master Flavor, DJ Fingers, and DJ Effects all the way from the UK. Come and let's party in grand style. For more inquiries, call us on 030-396-0345 or on 056-151-2407. Pimpamsia Hotel Afeshia Beer Festival. Don't miss out. This event will be broadcasted live by Claw TV.
There is no beer. That is why we be drinking all the beer.
Just want to take.
Good morning and welcome to the Business Update segment, where we bring you nothing but the best in the world of business. I am Clement Yabankwe, and today in our business news, our first story, the Ghanaian cedi has surpassed the 16 Ghana cedis mark against the United States dollar in the currency retail market. In Accra, various forex bureaus and banks are selling the dollar at a rate between 15 Ghana cedis 95 pesos and 16 Ghana cedis 20 pesos. This charge comes after the International Monetary Fund, IMF, recently lifted restrictions on dollar auctions conducted by the Bank of Ghana, following a notable rise in the country's reserve due to a $3 billion United States dollar recovery program. According to the July 2024 summary of finance and economic data from the Bank of Ghana, the cedi depreciated by around 19.6% against the United States dollar on the interbank forex market as of July 2024. This depreciation rate is slightly lower than the 21% decline seen in the retail market. In our last story for the day, as of yesterday, we were at the market because there is a recent few weeks ago, both consumers and traders have experienced an unexpected shift in the tomatoes prices, and it has come down because we are in the season of tomatoes. During our visit to the Underbridge market, we found out that boxes of tomatoes
every household in Ghana enjoys. The largest tomato hub in Ghana, located at Agboglushi Underbridge, has recorded a significantly reduced price on the purchase of tomatoes from some neighboring towns, as previously compared to the price in June and July. According to Wofayao, a spokesperson to the Queen Mother, the prices of tomatoes as of June and July were as high as 6,000 Ghana cedis, but in recent times, the prices have reduced extremely to about 1,000 Ghana cedis, making it possible for retailers and buyers to afford the vegetable. Madam Esther Owusu pleaded with the government to put in place some safety measures to cater for the storage of tomatoes, as they are perishable.
And a factory view of what kid with me, and so Ghana mine, and one say, we had to be na ye cat. To the boy, net dream my pa. Be a lot of fair crowd with coffee. The say what the buy will be a tinny and had your coffee noon. On 3 hour car. On 3 hour car, no aside of your copy. And so, Johnny, ya a baby 6 Nania Manasa. Sunny humanity. He said, feature, ya near Manaba. Since I saw what one said, a room feature had the I can't go on. Fast when so. You saw more do among can't tame any woman animal de Abiguha. And he said, Drew may road to Noah, Domanon dia, a ye. Na Bokina and also the city, I make what I'm assuming could be. And yet.
The spokesperson, Wofanyame, elaborated on the types of tomatoes available on the market. He also talked about how much it costs to get a box of tomatoes.
Susubeka kra na wumu entosi abano ye wono ahodo miensa and they say Underbridge ha ye yusu ha ya ekofa ba se ye wo local wine wo ho and ye wo cobra anso wo ho and ye wo hybrid so e wo ho ti sa tap biensa we ni sisi ya ye de ye ekofa ba amanfo so befa bi ekofie kokono aduane die na ye kodoma no ni ye nya cobra no bi wo ho cobra na dia pa fe do Cobra ene de dia akotene ti fa do ma de nyina wi no so ye benya local so kakra local one de ne ya de ne ho mremremre kakra ene sisi so ye de ne ya kire aigbe also kita also hybrid and also obudua no ho sisi aya be no kasa sisi aya enti to saba no ye won ahodo miensa sisi aya de obohunu Cobra wa ne bi wa ha obasa hunu adabri obohunu hybrid bi so wa ha sisi aya be no wa sisi aya sadete box no sisi aya de bush ne ye for 1,200 and 1,000 by the Baha, I should be the budget 1,500 and as 1,400. So I see a ton market yes, 7 million hearts now. I mean, say this year, Sadia, did you see I was here? He said, to Bono and Costa Casicas said another Madian and team budget 7,500. It was Abu, but I see the Ukuta 1,400 Ubanyabi, and I started to the Kurana, Evia Ubanyabi. Nasa Abu Sukran and 1,500 Ubaha Ubanyan to the Jacofi, acquired the Saudi.
All Shall Pass, a retailer, also spoke about the various prices at which customers get tomatoes for on the market.
Me pacho. Ya faro enya bukroso. Toda ebo no wasro, toda nso a ewo fam. Ene dia me fa 500. Enti minim dia kira nso ebeba. Toma de banase ene ma no dɔɔso ndi a ɛwɔ fam a ɛne ɔmote so sɛ nɔɔso di a ɛkɔ nti ene no ene ma ɛnhyɛ da ni fam papa bia saa nti me fa ne 500 pa cho me bua 20 Ghana ye so 20 Ghana ebi yɛ 5 cedis ebi yɛ 10 cedis ɛna basket no so me hyɛ no 108 10 cedis me ka sɛ no de nie dancing and away 20 cedis. First in the memoir, first in Concunie. Jenny. And she 5 cedis. Internet, a year. A chain first now, near Uno, a year. Until Befanasa.
A retailer pleaded for government intervention to help farmers grow more tomatoes, as it's an avenue for revenue generation.
Na obi etimi adibi afi omu baabi antoti bokodu ye ni ntimi ntokura your friends says 80 million 70 million 60 million e ma esika nyina ahia ma na ntimi ntua school fees fa ma ye ma ti esra ban so omie baabi omu ye ntosi aduma no omie dam ho ma na e ba fuma na timi aba fuma ma ye na ye timi atona obi a so se ni ma ne boye den a de obi school no ntimi ntowe ntosi mfa nya aduane ma school fo ntimi na yare a obi nso ba yare say for the ama betimi afantos na ko school ni mu ama matimi de ayeduana ma ye ma ho atom ama ye ma no so etimi asua de ye nti ye sra ba so onye ne sama ye masama no no.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is all we have for you on Business Update today. Do enjoy the rest of our program. I am Clement Yabankwe, your host.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Where are you?
I got a 1013. A Vic near Center Street.
Liv!
He tried to kill her. He tried to kill Kathy.
Who's he working for?
NYPD. He's the international liaison in Rome.
I want answers. Closure. I need that for my children. I'm just trying to find out who killed my wife.
Upstairs is giving us the organized crime task force. Elliot is not in charge of it.
Who is?
Detective Stabler. Nice to see you again. Our charge is to bust an international drug cartel. I just haven't been able to prove it yet.
I've never met the smart, dangerous, very bad man. I'd kind of like an introduction.
I run a legitimate business enterprise.
And my job is to catch scumbags. There's no doubt in my mind, I know what you are.
Extraordinary accusations call for extraordinary evidence, Detective. Prove it.
I will. Eli, get inside. Get inside.
We can nail the son of a bitch who did this to your family.
I was a damn good cop 12 years ago. I'm a better cop now.
Jane, when you lose your virginity, you can't ever go back.
Jane made a promise.
Stop! We should stop! You've been dating for 2 years and you haven't boned.
But sometimes life... You're pregnant.
But I've never had sex!
...makes a surprise delivery.
I accidentally inseminated you 2 weeks ago.
You what? I'm not ready to be a mom.
You have become the best part of my life, and this will be the best part of your life, too.
Jane...
Tigress!
I'm the big fat panda.
The whooshy finger hold. Oh, you know this hold.
Did not see that coming.
Choose someone else. Please.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you are just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and you missed a very, very important topic on the lifestyle segment, that is basic forms of financial management. So, of course, you can always catch up on our Facebook and YouTube live stream. Yes, now we're about to have our main discussion, and today's topic is definitely something that a lot of people would be interested in. So don't forget to send in your comments, your questions. You can even call in, and our numbers are displayed on the screen, our WhatsApp number and even the call number. And of course, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can send in your questions and your comments there. And Mrs. Hannah Abrahams-Appiah is a geologist and an environmentalist by training, and she also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in geology, an MPhil in environmental science, and a Master of Arts in ministry in pastoral care and the counseling option. She's currently a pastor with the King's General's International Church, and she is also a destiny coach and the missions director of the Holy Worldwide Revival Missions. The servant of God is married to Pastor Eric Abrahams-Appiah, and he is the lead pastor of the Holy Worldwide Revival Missions, and they are blessed with 2 wonderful daughters and have adopted and nurtured many others. She has authored and published 7 books. 2 titles have been translated into French and 2 devotionals. So some of her books include Get It Right, marriage is not a game of chance. The second one is throwback, the effect of our yesterdays on our tomorrows. The third one is stages. The fourth one is young and single. And the fifth one is it is never late. The sixth one is things I wish I knew before I went for missions. Then the seventh is identity theft. And then, of course, the think deep devotional. So you can see that this is a very, very learned woman. She's experienced in the field. So yes, let's get to meet her. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Yaira. Thank you too.
So, I think I want to ask a little bit for your background. Being an environmentalist and geologist, how do you even balance both the pastoral and counseling with the environmentalist and geologist?
Okay, interesting question. As an environmentalist and a geologist, that was my training.
Okay.
So you go to school, you get a degree, and you get the learning that you can use for sustenance and for passion and for love. So I was working with the Environmental Protection Agency for a number of years. But at the same time, because of purpose, I have been working with young people for years. So gradually with time, I fully diverted from career in terms of working with EPA into ministry.
Okay.
So right now I do full-time ministry, youth counseling, marriage, and personal development especially.
Okay, then we'll have you back for other conversations. Today's one is just marriage. So what would you define a healthy marriage as?
When we say something is a healthy marriage, let's just pick the words.
Okay.
When you talk of something is healthy, something is in a good state, something is as intended to be, okay? So a healthy person, it means that person is in a good state, mentally, physically, the cells are working. And when you talk of marriage, it's a mixing two people. When I say I'm using the word mixing or coming together of two people, male and female, in a holy word lock, in an agreement, in a union that has witnesses with God as the factor. Now you find out that a healthy marriage means that two people are coming together and they are in a state of togetherness, oneness. There's a beautiful unifying force that keeps them stable, sane in all aspects of their life. So that is what, in simple language, I can say is a healthy marriage.
Okay.
Good.
So what are some of the essential elements that constitute a healthy marriage? Aside all that you've mentioned, I'm sure, I mean, between the couple, there should be a few things. Or
very important. Between a couple, the very important things for a healthy marriage is there must be effective communication, because communication acts as the base or the glue or the foundation for that marriage. Because two people cannot live together without communicating. And you know all the aspects of communication, verbal, non-verbal, at all levels, mentally, physically, spiritually. We should be able to communicate. I could be sitting here and I may not see anything, but you know, we communicate with a smile, with our body language and everything. So healthy communication is an important factor in a healthy marriage. Then transparency, trust, they are key components in a healthy marriage. Then the unity, you can find out that these two people are unified on all fronts. Unity in terms of the way they think, in terms of finances, in terms of decision making, in terms of planning projects, all those areas that come to play in their marriage. There's a lot of unity, there's a lot of agreement. It's also a very key component in building a healthy marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the things like the roles that each couple is supposed to play? How does that constitute to a healthy marriage? Because I mean, now we have all kinds of opinions about what the man should do, what the woman should do. How does that work?
Okay. You see, you used a word that made me smile. You said roles that each party is supposed to play. And this is what happens. And that has brought in a lot of the conversations we find going round. Basically, males and females were created differently. And based on our nature, our functions are also different. So you find out that males are more brute in terms of muscle strength. So there are certain roles and responsibilities males do easily. Women also have not the same strength physically, but they also are intuitive. They are more complex in design. And so their functions are different. So women take seed, they carry pregnancy, they nurture, they nurse babies. Men don't do that. But when the baby is born, the men can come along, help take care of the baby. But you find out that that intuition, that mothering nature, it's more for the women. And then that brings about the role responsibility. So the male is usually the leader, the head, the hunter, the one who goes in search, the provider. So that's role definition of the man is the head of the home, the provider for the family. He makes sure his family has what to eat, where to stay, security. That is the definition we have grown up with, we have known that the male role is. And the woman is the homemaker. She's the one who births the babies, takes care of the home, makes sure that when the hunter comes, there is food. That is how society birthed and grew up. But now we find ourselves in an evolving, globalizing society, where today, post-World War, that's where it all started. When most of the men went for war, you find out that a lot of women who used to be at home now had to take up the jobs in the factories. They took up a lot of male responsibilities to be able to earn money, keep the systems running, and take care of their families. Now, when the males returned, these females now had already developed those skills. So now many women now have taken on both roles. They still have the nurturing role, taking care of their children, but at the same time,
they can also provide.
They have to go back to the work they are providing. And now because of the economy, because of financial responsibilities, many homes find themselves where males and females are working, pulling in resources together and to be able to take care of the home. But the roles, basic roles don't change. The male still, irrespective of the woman supporting financially, still has to take care of the pregnancy. So now traditional roles exist, but every couple now has to come to agreements and compromises on how we want our marriage to work. Because if I'm expecting my wife to come home at 8 p.m. and start preparing food for the children, the children who close school at 4, and the husband maybe has a job, maybe as a lecturer or a teacher, and closes early, could have done something for the children between 4 and 8 p.m., why not? So this is where the conversation comes in between couples. So when you get stuck in that traditional role and mentality and ideology of, oh, this is a woman's job description and this is a man's job description, then you may start having an unhealthy marriage.
Okay, that was very beautiful, because it turns out that still, even most of the people in the religious, or who are coming from the religious angles, tend to keep reiterating certain traditional things. But I love the fact that you have incorporated a modernization into it, and then the fact that these are skills that are learned. So yes, the woman can do some of these things, and then, you know, it just has to be a conversation between the couple that, you know, just because you're helping me out does not mean that you are the head, or, you know, I can't also help you out, you know, that thing. Because a lot of the conversations these days, the example you gave was perfect, where some of the men who come back from work earlier than them, but they're still expecting their wives to come back from work at whatever late hour to come and still do their wife role, that traditional wife role, when it's a skill they could have also learned. And I thank you so much for that. I have another question. So how does conflict resolution come to play in a healthy marriage?
Wonderful. So basically, when we talk of conflicts, it's two people that are not agreeing on a particular issue, and conflicts are basically misunderstandings. And wherever two people are, there will be misunderstandings, because our personalities, our upbringings, our worldviews are different. So we may not see eye to eye in certain areas. It is how we will now discuss and compromise and learn to understand. So conflicts in marriage are bound to happen because misunderstandings may rear its head because of the way our approaches to life are. But when they happen, what makes a conflict create an unhealthy marriage is when it is not handled properly. But when conflicts arise or when misunderstandings arise, you sit down, depending on your communication methodology and style, you sit down and try to understand your partner by active listening, transparent and clear communication. So communicate what the problem is. Ask the right questions. How did you understand this? Why is this a problem? Can we do it this way? When you are able to properly explain the problem and then come to a compromise, there will be no conflict. Let me go and give you another example. You find out that certain couples in typical African settings hold fast to these traditional roles. This same couple moves from Africa and goes to Europe, and they go to school. That same husband will do the roles which are traditionally female roles in Africa in Europe, because everybody's work schedule is such that one goes in the morning, one goes at night. Most often the husband does night, the wife does day. And you find out the husband comes home and during the day, he's doing the babysitting, the nursing roles, the cooking and cleaning, which if the same person was in Africa, may not have lifted his hand. So sometimes environment and culture even affects our behavior in marriage. So I tell people sometimes, your marriage may be doing badly in a particular environment. Move that marriage into another space. You'll be surprised that the couples will do well. So how we resolve conflicts, basically, it's communication, transparency, understanding, compromise, learning to see eye to eye with the other partner, and then helping yourself to grow so that you don't remain fixed in your beliefs. Because sometimes people don't change because, it must be like this. Banku must be made on the coal pot, not on the gas. The taste is different.
Yes. So, you see, there's also this notion that whenever you fight with your spouse, you don't need to tell your friends or your family, because when you forgive your spouse, your family, they've not forgiven the person or forgotten. So in a conflict, when is it appropriate to involve a third party so that the issue can be resolved?
Okay, conflicts will arise, like I said. But ideally, each one of us has been given innate skills. God has put it in us to be able to resolve by mutual understanding. But you find out that sometimes some of the conflicts become difficult. Everybody takes an entrenched position, or based on their understanding or perspectives, it's not working. Now, conflict resolution may need, mediation. And when you need to mediate, there are people who can help in mediation. So either you go for a proper counselor, or you go for somebody who is wise. You know, those wise old women. Friends, family, siblings have attachments to their person. So it could be the female or the male. So yes, into a problem, and my friend has been my sounding board over the years. So I go back to my friend and I'm like, Ayura, ABCD, my husband doesn't want Banku and it's becoming an issue. What do we do? And so you give me an idea and you're like, how can he not like Banku in this country? And we are on and on about it. But like you said, we will now resolve our issue in the bedroom or at home. Then the friend doesn't forget about it. So it is normally advised that don't take your issues to your friends. Take your issues to counselors who are credible. I'm emphasizing on that. Some people may go to pastors, and the pastors have been given to us to help in counsel, but not all of them are specialized. Not all of them are trained, because you can tell your case to a pastor in the next preaching, that will be what will be used. And you can tell it to your friend, and the next discussion meeting at a family, it will be used. So if you don't use people who understand the skill of confidentiality, who are mature enough to know that we are preserving each other, then you're going to have a problem. Okay. And it's not wrong to speak up. It's not wrong. Some people find it so difficult to be vulnerable about a conflict or a problem that they are going through. So they give the impression that, oh, I have a perfect marriage, everything is going well, and they are suffering. The problem in that case is gradually you, the party who is going through the crisis, will have a mental breakdown at one point in time, and it could be irreversible. But it could easily have been dealt with, because sometimes all you need is an advice or an alternative way to approach that particular conflict. So be careful the third party you bring into resolving conflict issues. And even before marriage, agree with your spouse who you intend to talk to whenever there's a challenge. When you do that, it becomes very easy.
So with that, if my spouse and I, we've agreed that we'll be talking to Mrs. Abrams Appiah, and maybe for certain, you know, as you said, we have different personalities. So for selfish reasons or for wanting to be right, the least thing I want to come and tell you, reporting him, something like that, wouldn't that maybe prevent the marriage from being healthy, or is that allowed?
There's nothing like something is allowed or something is not allowed. It's good to understand that because we are unique individual personalities, our ability to handle stress varies. Our coping skills are not the same. Somebody who runs with every little thing to a partner may not have that coping skill to handle the responsibilities and the realities of marriage. So if that counselor she goes to is a good one, you would immediately help her to develop her skills to handle the issues herself. That is the skill she or he needs. Because you see, many people don't understand. Let me now use a biblical quote. It says, a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. So there's a stage where you are going to move from dependence on your parents, on people, on others, to become independent. A mature person who is ready to marry is somebody who can take independent decisions, handle problems independently. If every time somebody has to come in, then you are not mature in the first place to have even bothered to get married.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So with conflicts again, are there maybe certain issues that are, so to speak, non-negotiable, where forgiving or giving grace to your partner is not, it shouldn't be part of the options?
What would you call non-negotiable, or what would you call completely out of the question? Because once you get married, you are going to meet different scenarios in marriage that will bring conflict. It could be financial, like the segment that just ended, which could be which is actually one of the major. It could be communication, unexpected, what do you call it? Uncommunicated expectations. It's actually one of the #1 causes of divorce. It's not even marriage. Uncommunicated expectations. As you are sitting here, in case you are not married, or if you are married, there are some expectations you expect from the man. And he's also expecting certain things from you, but he may never tell you. And that can become a problem. Now, what is it? He went into adultery, he had children out there, he murdered somebody. What is it that cannot be forgiven? So when we bring the clause of forgiveness, everything can be forgiven. But you will find out that people get into marriage and abuse takes place. Now, abuse, when a life is at stake, now becomes something where we need to re-evaluate the life that is at stake. So if, for example, a man is being threatened by his wife, she wants to kill him. Usually we talk the contrary, so I'm going on the other side. She wants to kill him. She's always on his case. Such a man will be advised to stay away from the person who has become abusive, who has become a threat to his life and survival. Those are the things, even that act can be forgiven. Forgiving is one thing, but staying together is another. So you can forgive him, yes, but you may not necessarily have to still be in the same space. We had last year or two, lady whose husband threatened her. The siblings didn't come for her. They left her. He killed her.
Yes, the musician.
Is it the musician, the pastor?
Okay, I know the musician, Eku, the lady who sang the Eku.
Yeah, hers was an emotional abuse, and she died supposedly of a medical cause, but I think it was prolonged stress that resulted in that. But there's another case of a pastor in the US who actually gunned down his wife or something like that.
Wow.
So in such cases, when abuse is prolonged, is continuous, is not being resolved, sometimes you may have to move out of the space of the relationship or marriage so that you could help both parties grow and then come back to the ability to stay together or permanently separate.
So even with moving, to moving out of that space, there have been cases where whoever it is, the abuser, will still be stalking you, looking for you to, try to harm you. So in a situation like that, you involve the counselor and things, and then they talk to both of you, and it's like, after everything, it's like, this man was willing to go and find me even in Nalewigu. I've left Accra to the north, and he still followed me there just to try to harm me. As a normal human being, wouldn't it be difficult to forgive or to even want to stay with that person?
It's going to be tough. It happens, and that's usually a trace of narcissism. Some people are narcissists. They don't even know. They just become very revengeful. Now, marriage situations have a way of bringing out sometimes the best and the worst in people. Because remember, somebody gave this illustration. When two stones rub against each other, it gets hot. Sometimes it sparks fire. That's what happens to two people. Two personalities' beliefs. They can spark a lot of fire among themselves, and all they needed was water to cool it, which they may not have had. So the water in my case is the word of God. It will cool it down. But because they didn't have the water, they get on each other's nerves. They touch their raw valves, and everybody wants to revenge. It can be difficult, but forgiveness is possible. And then you will learn to move on. Some are not able to move on. They still feel they own you, especially if you were a lifeline. There are some women who were the, cash cows in the family. So the man cannot understand why she's left. It's not about her, it's about the money she's taken. She was working and he was living lavishly. Now she's left the marriage. He doesn't want her. He wants her money. So he sees her as a thief who has actually gone away with his benefits.
I see.
So perspectives.
Okay. So are healthy marriages always happy?
A healthy marriage is always happy. Happy? When you say happy, what are you talking about? Because happy is an emotional state.
Yes, that's why I'm asking. Because, we always hear healthy, happy marriage. It's always related to, so to speak, a more positive. Yes, I think maybe there's continuous laughter or something. But in the absence of the laughter, can there be a marriage that may not look as though it is happy, but it is healthy?
Yeah. There are marriages that are healthy, but happiness stems from two different people and the way their emotions are expressed. So they may not necessarily have laughter ringing out in their home on a daily basis, but they don't have problems. Okay. They may not be the fun-loving type of personalities, but they are okay. So it depends, again, like I said, on the people, but they are peaceful. They are together. Then we have also couples who are friends. They are the expressive type. They are laughing. Everything looks like it's okay for them. They don't have a problem. But ideally, when there's a healthy marriage, the main key is peace.
Peace, okay.
There'll be no storm. They are peaceful. They understand each other. Then it goes to the place where, like we are, they are happy. They're all over there. Don't look at a marriage on social media and think that it's a happy marriage.
Okay.
Just like studios are staged and dramas are staged, a lot of things out there are staged.
You mentioned peace, and it reminded me of conflict resolution in school, where there's negative peace and then there's positive peace. So if there is peace, it looks like there is peace, but this peace is basically that they are walking on eggshells around each other or something. They know that there are, what's the word? Is it landmines all over the place?
Landmines, exactly.
How about that?
Yeah, so that is not a healthy marriage. Any marriage with landmines all around is not a healthy marriage. It means that there's a problem that needs to be resolved. But the problem may either be a no-go area, or they don't know how to resolve it. And then, because I'm a pastor, they are both physical, there are also spiritual dimensions to conflicts in marriage. So there are some you just cannot explain, the attacks that you just realize that this one is no longer A, B, C, D. You just can't put a finger to it, and it involves a lot of prayer. That's why you find out a lot of people go for prayer and believe that God can change things. Because you may just be getting angry and you don't even know why you are getting angry. Something is really at stake.
You see, even with couples, let's say based on how well you know your partner, it's like there are certain, maybe certain personal characteristics of mine that it seems that when it comes to my partner, I cannot feel free and express myself in that way because there's going to be an erratic or negative response from my partner. Is that something that can also cause a marriage to be unhealthy?
Oh, yes. Definitely, because we react differently to different situations. If we understand very well and accept that marriage is made up of two people, two complete different personalities. Some are calm, some are agitated, some are harsh, abrasive. If you use the different personality theories that already exist, you would know that no two people will react to a situation the same way. Somebody will be excited about a new clothes, and another will be like, that's too much money. And you are like, oh, you've killed my joy. No, I'm calculating the money. I need it for school fees in September. Why did you buy clothes for me? In simple things like this. But it's because our personalities react to things so differently. And it could be an issue. Let me just give a practical case I used in one of my books. My husband is a missionary, and we went to a country. And they gave him a gift of bushmeat. But in this case, it was monkeys, roasted monkeys. When they brought it home and I saw it, I was scared. I screamed. I was like, oh my God. And he's like, why are you reacting that way? It's a beautiful gift. Receive it. And he was smiling. And I was like, no, I don't want it in my house. Let it leave. Just somebody's gift. Now, how would even the person who gave me the gift feel? You'll feel so offended that, oh, this woman, this was so expensive. And that's what happens in marriage. People react to different scenarios based on their person, their nature, their belief. And those can be conflicts, and they keep continuing. They can't handle it. One can still not adjust. Then there becomes a problem permanently in that relationship.
So we have to take a quick break. Please don't forget to send in your questions to our live stream on Facebook and YouTube, Clog TV, and also our WhatsApp number. You can also call in to ask your questions. I know you probably have all kinds of questions to ask our madam here. So right after this break, we will get back into the conversation and then take your questions as well. We'll be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Where are you?
I got a 1013. A Vic near Center Street.
Liv!
I tried to kill her. I tried to kill Kathy.
Who's he working for?
NYPD. He's the international liaison in Rome.
I want answers. Closure. I need that for my children. I'm just trying to find out who killed my wife.
Upstairs is giving us the organized crime task force. Elliot is not in charge of it.
Who is?
Detective Stabler. Nice to see you again. Our charge is to bust an international drug cartel. I just haven't been able to prove it yet.
I've never met the smart, dangerous, very bad man. I'd kind of like an introduction.
I run a legitimate business enterprise.
And my job is to catch scumbags. There's no doubt in my mind, I know what you are.
Extraordinary accusations call for extraordinary evidence, Detective. Prove it.
I will. Eli, get inside. Get inside.
We can nail this son of a bitch who did this to your family.
I was a damn good cop 12 years ago. I'm a better cop now.
What's that? What are you doing?
Painkillers.
Oh, for your leg.
No, because they're yummy. You want one? But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too stoned to tell.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we are having our main discussion on how to build and maintain a healthy marriage with Mrs. Hannah Abraham Zapia, and she is a pastor and a counselor. She's the one educating us, informing us on all the things we need to know about maintaining and building a healthy marriage. So, my madam, what role, or okay, let me even just make it basic. What are temperaments and role do they play in a marriage?
So, our temperaments are basically our innate nature and emotional differences. My husband uses it. Why do I get so happy easily? Why do I want to help people? Why do I get so upset? Why am I so orderly? Why am I so, somebody says, laid back? These are all temperamental differences. The basic four we know are the sanguines, the cholerics, the phlegmatics, the melancholics. And each of these blends come in blends.
Okay.
You can have predominant personality traits, recessive personality traits. So you may find somebody who is a sanguine, but he has a choleric recessive trait, or predominantly melancholic, but with a recessive phlegmatic trait. Now, even with that, you can also now find people who may be maybe even a phlegmatic, but grew up with a choleric parent. So she has an adapted choleric trait, which is not actually who he or she is, but is learned.
Okay.
And others too have repressive personalities because you grew up in a family where there are certain things you can't do. So even though you are very expressive, you learn to keep quiet. You learn to keep quiet. Now, such a person gets married with a very repressive personality and doesn't even know that her upbringing or his upbringing has created that nature or secondary nature. Then we get into an environment where now that real nature is able to thrive. Suddenly, your spouse will be, you changed. You didn't change. The environments are different. And so one environment makes your personality thrive, makes it bloom, or it makes you actually kind of laid back, but that's not who you really are. So marriage gradually brings out the worst or the best in you.
Yes.
So in marriage, you find out that if the person you married is mature, is accommodating, it's, what do you call it, is loving, that person will nurture the best out of you. Because remember, we are growing.
Yeah.
All of us are work in progress. Let me borrow a term from Marriage Connect. We are work in progress. And as we keep progressing in our self-development, in our knowledge, in our skill acquisition, we will be improving. We will be letting go of certain basic flaws that we may have had. There are certain things that may not change. Your basic traits, if you meet a choleric leader, they are goal-getters, they are strict. Some call them abrasive. They are fighters. They don't really care too much about how they got the results. And so somebody will say they step on people's emotions to get it. Imagine you marry a man like that, and you're a child or a lady. Women are very emotional. Women love to be cared. We love to be loved. Women can be very sensitive. And I love your smile, Yaira. And then you marry somebody with that abrasive personality. Gradually, that person will be stepping on your emotions unconsciously. And with time, you find out that that will be a wounded person. You could also find a female who is abrasive, choleric, with a male partner who is very phlegmatic and laid back, very gentle. And the wife looks like she's so disrespectful because culturally, when you're a woman, I say this jokingly, but culture has made it look like when you're a woman, you must have a predominant phlegmatic trait. You must be calm, you must be laid back, you must be, then you are a woman. When you are assertive, then it's like you are manifesting male traits. But why blame that girl? She was born that way.
Yes.
That's her nature. So what she now needs to do is use wisdom and what do you call it? Growth, intentional growth skills to put some of the tough personality traits not in a recessive position, but know how to manage it. Else it becomes like there are two leaders, because she's a leader by birth. But your husband is now a leader by role.
Yes. Okay.
Else there'll be two personality leadership clashes in the home. And then the husband also, when he understands that this is my wife, she's a born leader. Well, I am the leader technically, but I'm going to allow her to use her skills and her strength to push me to shine forth. It comes back to communication and understanding.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask, are some of these temperaments maybe so compatible and some not compatible? Like something like a sanguine and then a choleric. Something like that. Would you say, because I think there should be some range, right? Where some may be closer to being more compatible than others. If you can give...
Personally, I don't know of any compatibility or non-compatibility of personalities. I just know that irrespective of the personalities that come together, there will always be differences. No two personalities are the same. And so compromise is always the key, and understanding, and then finding out what exactly is it about that person. Remember, we are there to complement each other. So what I don't have, you have. So a choleric leader may need a sanguine leader because a sanguine person may be the social person to his life, because most of them don't really have a social life. And then if I have a phlegmatic person, you need a choleric person to keep you pushing. Can you imagine two phlegmatic people in a home? Everything will come to a standstill because procrastination can be one of their major weaknesses. Or a melancholic who is a perfectionist. The way you sit, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you hold your fork, everything becomes overly critical. It is not that they are being critical. They just want everything to be perfect. So there will always be conflicts with two personality clashes. But compromise, understanding, and looking at the bigger picture, some of the things are not big deal breakers. And so we shouldn't make them deal breakers.
Okay. So we have a few questions coming in. So this one says, good morning, Yaira. Could you please help me ask here, how can one support a partner in managing jealousy and overprotectiveness caused by trauma from a previous relationship while also maintaining healthy boundaries in the marriage?
Baggages, I call them, and trauma. Many people grow up with trauma. Children from our homes, marriages we saw our parents, saw our aunties having, already traumatized us, and we don't even know we are traumatized. I think years ago, words like trauma, emotional instabilities were not common terminologies, even though people may have been going through them. So now people get married and they may have had broken relationships because it was abusive or it was not fair, it was, and they carry that trauma into their new marriages. And then now your partner becomes a victim of your trauma. First and foremost, if you have a good relationship, back to the healthy relationship, you draw your partner's attention that he needs help. And wife or husband, stop trying to be a savior to your spouse. They may not take it from you, even though they have a problem. In case they allow you to, then you can help guide them out of that traumatic problem. But if they can't, they need to get a counselor to help them so that that trauma, that baggage that they have carried into the relationship can go. Your first girlfriend or first wife, what caused the insecurity? Usually it could have been because they didn't get love growing, be very difficult to deal with. They manifest traits of jealousy, they manifest traits of anger, they manifest traits of suspicion and doubt. And it can be so agonizing when you hang around such people.
So with something like the background where they grew up, where the with the marriage they saw between their parents, for someone who has been, you know, affected by the kind of marriage even for their parents. I think even yesterday, my colleagues and I were talking about some tribes and how their men are not, or the women in that tribe are always saying the men from that same tribe are a no-go for them because of their fathers that they saw growing up and things like that. So as a lady or as a guy, you saw your mother being a certain way to your father or your father being a certain way to your mother. How do you manage that kind of trauma in marriage, you know, getting into marriage even while being in marriage?
You, the individual, you play a very critical role in the success of your marriage. And so sometimes you need to do an introspection, a self-search, and find out what were the things that affected me growing up? What did I see? What were the traits? And what did I desire? There's a difference between what you saw growing up and you developed hatred for. And then now many people create a make-believe world in their minds. So there's this ideal man, ideal marriage that they create. And anything short of that ideal man or ideal marriage is a no-no area. The fact that your father was from a particular tribe and did A, B, C, D to your mom does not guarantee that another man for that tribe will do X, Y, Z to you.
But what if your parents' story is not the only story you've heard? You have heard it countless times.
You may have heard it countless times because, yes, every tribe seems to have a certain pattern in behavior. You would have heard that certain tribes, I think I can use that example, like Ewes, are hard-working. I've heard that example, and I love it. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I have.
Yes. And I'm always like, well, to me personally, I think it's true. Because the friends I have and the marriages I've seen in that tribe, a lot of the male partners are hardworking. For the negatives, I cannot put out or I cannot say because I don't have data to back. But the one I have heard, which is good, I can share. There's the other tribes we have all over, and everybody has different perspectives. But your perspectives does not make it right or wrong. So your father may have grown up in a particular generation and a particular upbringing. And that's why that whole generation may be behaving in that way. But your generation may be different. So don't cut people out because of a particular belief system. Deal with the person as an individual and give the person an option, unless the person has started manifesting those traits. If the person has, remember he was also brought up by somebody like that, then there's a problem.
Okay. So my cherished viewers, our phone lines are open, so we are waiting to receive your calls for your questions and also your comments to our madam here. So I have another question. Hey, you these people. How do we deal with partners who do not want the other partner to achieve higher heights in life due to their insecurities? This is from Sewa Kuto from Kumasi.
When you are dating or you are courting, when you notice that a partner has that tendency, you must think and consider carefully before you make that decision. But this is where the problem happens. During dating and courtship, many people follow the emotions, the love, the feelings, the giftings, and the branding, the image. and forget to ask pertinent and real-life questions. And then after they get married, they want to do personal development, they want to go to school, then there's a conflict. Because one, some males are insecure, and so are some women, females. Then there's also role and responsibilities. Children need to be taken care of. When you start wanting to go do further studies, who is going to be responsible? And certain people shelf their responsibility on the other. Just knowing that you are there makes me take on extra responsibility because you will handle. So unconsciously, one party gets burdened with extra responsibility. First, you were single. All you do, take care of yourself. Now you have 3 children. You have things to wash. You have their homework to do. You have to think for 3 other people plus yourself. When can you get extra time to do self-development? Now, both people need self-development. Whose is priority? His or mine? Okay. And so this is where the conflict comes in.
Let's put a pin in that quickly. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Oh, okay. My name is Samuel, calling from Volta Regional Kachi.
Okay. Your question, please.
Yeah. Good morning to you all. I really love our madam who talk about how Volta region people have been hardworking. I really love that for her. I really love that. My question is that, what if you are dating a partner that you do care about your partner every day, but she doesn't care about you? You be loyal to her. She's not loyal to you. What will you do about that?
So his question, he says, if you're always caring about your partner, but it seems she doesn't, what do you do about the loyalty and all that?
What do you do about it? You see, in terms of caring about one partner or the other, that brings us to the issue of love languages. What is your definition of caring? So maybe you are providing, maybe you are expressing love verbally, maybe you are there present. But the wife may not express her love language in the same way you. If you ask her or that partner her side of the story, she may also say she is, but you are not. So question, we know the basic, Gary Chapman proposes basic 5 theories: touch, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and gifts. What makes you feel loved? Somebody loves gifts. You must give me gifts. One of my sisters, I don't know if she's watching me, she loves flowers. Everybody knows she loves flowers. And I'm like, what are you doing with flowers? Give me my money. And we'll be going back and forth about pollen, too much pollen in the house. Another person wants presence. Come and stay with me. Spend 2-3 hours. Another person wants touch. Want you to hug me. Another person wants words. I know a sister who says, when you write words to her, don't send me an emoji. I spent time to write to you, and then you reply with an emoji.
Okay, we have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning, and your name and where you're calling from, please. Hello. Hello. Okay, it seems we may have lost the caller. So there's also another question here. This one says, my husband is abusive, but I still love him. What can I do? He's my first love, and he's been he's been so good to me and my family. This is anonymous. And she also has a comment, Momo is my love language. I feel you. So yes, her husband is abusive, but she loves him. He's her first love. He's also been very good to her and her family. So in a situation like this, how should she handle this?
So this is a woman who is obviously in an emotional attachment phase. She's so emotionally attached to that person, such that even his abusive acts is being contained. Now the question is, what is she calling abuse? In which area?
So they say we have a caller on the line, so we'll come back to this. Yes, hello, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Felix calling from Ayamas.
Okay, your question, please.
I would like to ask Mommy, I've been with my fiancé for 3 years now, and we are planning to get married. But I have this particular issue about her, which I really want Mommy to give me advice on.
Okay.
She's a very good woman for that. I'll not dispute that. But she doesn't know how to talk and doesn't respect.
She doesn't know how to what?
How to talk and doesn't respect.
Okay.
Very interesting question. I feel your concern and thank you for sharing. That's a very sincere and a heartfelt request. Now, when you say a person doesn't know how to talk, you will find out that people have preconceived ideas of this is an acceptable way of talking. Yeah. Society has ways that are all right, acceptable and not acceptable. Back to our upbringing, the way we grow up, children are born tabula rasa. They don't have anything in them. But they pick up what they find in the environment they grow up in. So they grow up in an environment where everybody is forthright, shouting, they speak loud. That learned way of speaking is learned. The same way that person can unlearn. Yeah. So you find out that their emotional intelligence skills, how to control your anger, how to speak. So she sounds disrespectful because that's how she grew up. Nobody may have told her, don't say this, don't do that, don't act this way. If I collect money with my left hand in Ghana from an adult, they will tell me I am disrespectful. But culturally, in other African countries, left and right is not a problem. Yes. So what you are calling disrespectful requires that call the lady and have that conversation. Tell her that per my nature or the new family I'm going to create, this is what I think is a standard acceptable way of talking. The way you talk, this is how you are. I like you, but this is how you already are. But I wish you could change that way of talking because I find it abrasive, offensive, or I don't like it. Okay. And he may also be offended by that way of talking because he may have grown up in a home where his mother was maybe calm, environment cool, very respectful. If he had grown up in her home, it would have been so normal. He may not even have found her talking as disrespectful because the way he claims she's disrespectful, in her home it may be okay. It's probably normal. So we have to learn and unlearn and improve.
So we have another caller on the line. Hello, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Please,
could you speak up, please?
My name is Ed Moachi. I'm calling from Kofodia.
Okay, your question.
Please. I just don't know how to say it, but I have dated only once. Like the lady I was dating with me had a lot of problems. But right now, I'm not dating anymore, but I really want to marry. So is it good for me to just go straight and marry, or should I study a little before I marry her?
Okay. He says he hasn't, he dated once, he's no longer dating, but he wants to get married. And so should he just up and go and marry, or he should find somebody and then court and study first?
I would advise that first and foremost, he should assess himself if he's in a stable and a mature state for marriage. Be sure why he wants to get into marriage. People want to get into marriage without really knowing why. When your why is not strong, when the challenges and conflicts come, you would want to walk out. So a strong why for getting married is not just I feel I need a wife, but you must know why you want to get married. And then now identify somebody suitable to complement you. Somebody who will complement you is very important. What do you think I need somebody to complement me for? Somebody who can love me, understand me, share with me, rub minds together, share our lives together. That's what the person needs. When you identify that person, then begin a courtship. Few months, get to know each other, hot spots, anger spots, conflicts, possible conflict areas. Can we handle character? Values are key things to look out for. When those are set and you believe that there's an emotional feeling growing and a liking for that person, why not? You get into that marriage.
No, okay, wow. So we didn't finish the conversation about the husband being abusive, but she still loves it. Oh no, it was rather the... Hey, wait.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, the husband being abusive, but she still loves him, and he's her first love. He's been good to her and her family. Something like that.
And so that's what I was saying earlier, that the emotional attachment. So she loves him maybe because of what he does for her and the family. Maybe financially, he gives her money. Since Momo is her language, it's maybe he answers that for her. But how is he abusive? Is it verbal abuse, physical abuse, or something exactly, maybe the abusive cause, but she feels she can tolerate it because her benefits outweigh the abuse?
Or what if it could even just be guilt? You know, maybe she wants to leave, but she said he's been good to her and her family. So probably maybe some financial situations, or even he provided some sort of comfort and care during a very trying time, maybe some bereavement or something.
Yeah.
And then she still wants to find out a way around it, even though he's abusive.
Very good. Now, abuse, depending on the extent, should not be tolerated. Else you yourself, your mental health will be affected.
Yeah.
Now, it also depends, like I said, are they married or they are just in a courtship?
She's a husband.
So husband, that's why you make the decisions very early. If it gets to a certain stage, she needs to get counsel or get help. Get the right person to advise her. Some of the things people are calling abuse could actually be easily overlooked. It may be just excess demands we may be making. But if we look at the abuse and the extent, maybe he's beating her, slapping her, or insulting her, or neglecting her, and then those ones are creating a problem, then we need to see how we can counsel.
But some of the psychological abuse too can end up affecting her physically.
Those are the worst ones.
Yes.
Those are the worst ones.
Because it seems as though we're always mentioning the domestic abuse, like the physical abuse, but nobody really seems to want to talk about the emotional parts of that kind of abuse, where he puts you down, your esteem is down in hell. It's not even on the ground.
It's terrible.
Yes, but before we continue, we have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Kojo.
Okay.
Calling from Volta region.
Okay. Volta region. Yes, your question, please.
Yes. Thank you very much. I just banged into the program. I didn't really get the topic, but I can really resonate with the topic, the theme. What happened was that I dated a lady in the past, and I was in love with her, actually. But this lady wasn't too sure, even though I had a lady. I had a lady first before I met her, fell in love with her, professed love to her and all that. We stayed for about a year or two and all that. When I was serious and wanted to take it a step further, she wasn't giving me the opportunity to do the do. It came to a time she started giving me attitude and stuff like that, and I said, okay, if that is the case, I'll go ahead with my first person, and then lo and behold, I married her. The moment I married her, she started complaining. This and this and this and this. She was waiting for me and coming in. I lied to her and all that. Still, I have that, soft spot for her. It has been something. I don't know what to. I don't know. But she's not giving me the opportunity to even approach her at the first place after I married. But I still have that soft spot for her. I don't know. It's a little bit complicated. I get a little advice. After I married.
She still has a soft spot for her. There's something about that woman that really attracted her to you. And that's why you still have the soft spot for her. But this is also another discovery that many people don't realize. When they are dating, people don't reveal their true selves. We are a little guarded in the dating relationship, especially because our desires are ultimately to get married. After we get married, now people let their guards down.
Yeah.
We are already in it. So then the people start picking on what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. Well, I'm already in it. You can't go anywhere. So let's deal with it. Instead of using a lot of tact and wisdom to handle the issues. Back to the basics. When marriage issues and such issues come up, have healthy, honest conversations and find out what you like, what you don't like, how can we compromise, how can we agree. somebody feels that you haven't spoken the truth to her, then it becomes a problem. And you see, I mentioned it earlier. Divorce is usually because uncommunicated expectations. So the woman may have had expectations which suddenly are not being met because of the way the man may have promised or spoken or even implied. They may not even have said it, but they may have implied or acted as if all is well, only for you to realize that no, it is not as the person thought it should be.
So we have a few more questions here. So this one is a comment. It says, this is a very educative program. I've learned a lot. Thanks. Thank you too. Okay, so this one says, good morning. Please, I need advice. When I ask my husband, a question, he replies with a question. What do I do about it? And hey, the questions are coming. Okay, this one says, Yaira, could you please help me ask these questions? What are the pros and cons to consider when choosing a partner? Additionally, is it advisable to choose a partner if your parents do not support the relationship because they believe the partner is toxic, especially after being informed about some misunderstandings between you and your partner? This one, I was saying that we should have had a conversation about preparing for marriage before today, because people are asking, the single ones are also trying their luck here. But so a question like this, what are some of the pros and cons to consider when choosing a partner?
When choosing a partner, just a quick view. First and foremost, I always start from, what do you want? You must define what you want in a partner. And then you look at aspects, education, character, values, personality, belief systems, faith is the vital and key component. Even faith, denominations, doctrines, ability to provide, understanding about money, communication skills. When you don't consider carefully these decisions and you just walk into a marriage because of feelings, most people start with, I love him, I don't love him. The feeling seems to be the first reason for which people make decisions. But it shouldn't. You should carefully consider character, values, beliefs, provision, understanding, reasoning before you put the feeling. Because when the feelings are fully blooming, now it's so difficult to put a break on it because of feelings now control you. And many people think emotionally, they don't think rationally. So when you start thinking emotionally, then it's going to create a problem. Now, when your parents feel that a partner is not right, most often they are talking from experience. And so it's so important to listen to them. Sometimes too, they may just be talking not from experience, but from sentiments. Again, from experience or beliefs or issues that have handled. So they become sentimental. Oh, my brother married this person and it happened like this. Married this tribe and it happened like this. So they have too many examples. They can be sentimental. Take time, prayerfully consider whatever they have said and ask God to help you make a conclusive decision. I believe it is so key. If not, you would fall into a trap and then you get problems in a few years.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hey, these questions. So this one says, good morning. I want to know what to do when your husband says he is emotionally detached from you. Hey, you're in trouble.
You can't do anything. He is emotionally detached from you. One, you can, if he's willing to speak up, find out what exactly has made him emotionally detached. Find out what you can do to get that attachment back. He may find somebody else who may be supplying the emotional need he has. And that's how come you find out people start cheating on their partners because they want to talk honestly, they need a listening ear. The wife is too busy, she's not listening to him. Because you see, look at a scenario. Two people go to work, they come home. When they come, he's sitting by the TV watching a sports news. She rushes to the kitchen, she wants to do homework. So a lot of women get so caught up in the routines and busyness of the home that they may not be present for their husband to speak to them or their husbands to pour out their heart on them. And then the husband may also be pouring his heart, but he has his methodology. Like the question which says, My husband answers a question with a question. That's the way his thinking process operates. So it is a problem for you because you want an answer, but he gives you a question. He becomes an interrogative person, and he doesn't know that that's his reasoning and information processing style. He doesn't know how to give a straight answer. He wants to check, okay, is it brown? What kind of brown? Can it be changed? Can it be altered?
Before asking or
and he won't change.
Yeah.
So for you as a partner, when you identify that this is how my partner is, you learn to accept. Okay. And this is where the problem is. Many of us cannot accept it. It must change, and it can or cannot.
Okay. So this one says, good morning. I dated a guy for 21 years since JSS, but we are finally separated this year. And when I decided to quit, I saw he was verbally abusing me and he was not serious to perform the marriage rites, and we had 2 kids. I want to know if I took the wrong decision. Oh.
I don't think it's time to do blame game at this point. You already have 2 kids with him. You made a choice. Life is full of choices, and every choice has consequences. JSS was a young age, and I don't think at that age you had enough information and skill to have made a healthy decision. So that decision has cost you in terms of now you have children, you are not properly married, but now the marriage has become abusive. But it's not even a marriage, it's a cohabitation. And cohabitation for so many years can eventually, legally, has its own dimensions. So now you are moving out, but you must have reasons why. Is it because of the emotional, verbal abuse? Is it because he's not being responsible for the children? Is it because now you think you are mature enough and you want your space, or you want your sanity, or you feel that that security you want in marriage never got? In case he properly married her, would you have still stayed in? Or if he wants to, you still don't want it?
Wow. Okay, so this one says, good morning to you, Yaira, and your guest. I'm enjoying the conversation. I want to ask questions, but someone has already asked my questions, so I'll not ask again. Mommy is doing well with the expressions. God bless you all. Millicent Deti Money from Dobro. Thank you for your comment. Hey, people won't let me ask my questions. Okay. Hi, please, I need an advice. I've been dating this guy for 1.5 years now, but he has never supported me financially, but he's very calm and gentle, and I love him so much. I recently had this guy that supports me financially, but he's pressurizing me with sex issues all the time that I know wholeheartedly that I can't give out because I really love the other guy. What do I do? Hey people, this is a marriage conversation.
Now they have moved us to a dating conversation.
I think we'll have to have you back for the dating part.
Okay, let me throw honest questions. Why should you love one person and then you would be picking money from another person? That's unfair.
Well, the other one is not giving the money. So,
first and foremost, this is where many young women and both men fall into trouble. Dating is an opportunity to get to know one another. Then when you start a courtship, you have agreed, you've proposed, and you start a relationship towards marriage. Money, gifts, certain expensive things become a bait that now make it very difficult for you to let go when even the relationship is sour. Why should he be offering responsibilities of a husband when you are not married? And it becomes like an obligation. So many young women today go into relationships because of the financial gains. It's as if you are trading yourself for money. He loves you, but he doesn't owe you. When he marries you and he decides to provide, then it's his responsibility to provide. So you can love somebody and then make sure that you should also be responsible yourself, else you're going to be a liability on your partner in the few years' time. Gradually, you are being unfair to yourself and then to that partner.
Well. Hey, so this one says, good morning. God bless Mrs. Hannah, and her books are super great. Thank you for your comment. So the one who says the husband says he's emotionally detached from her, he says, the husband is not staying with them. She's in Takoradi and he's in Accra, and they have 3 kids. So how will she navigate that?
That's tough. Long distance relationship. So definitely those are some of the challenges of a long distance relationship.
Okay.
So because of her absence, he's feeling it. And so that's why he's emotionally distant. 3 children, if they are with her, she's also overwhelmed with the responsibility of parenting alone. Now he has excess time because the children are not there. So now that emotional need, that sexual satisfaction may be absent. And then he's having thoughts because he has too much time to find what else to do with himself.
Then he should come to he should leave Accra and come, at least every weekend, come to an agreement or something. So this one says, good morning, please, I need advice. I found out my husband still talks to his exes. Please, what should I do? Thank you.
When your husband is still talking to his exes, there's nothing you can do. But ideally, use a lot of wisdom to draw his attention to the fact that, one, you are aware if you have a healthy communication ongoing. And then also let him know the damage or danger it can cause to him and cause to your relationship, because it breeds suspicion, mistrust with time, and gradually you will not be too sure of what he's up to with his ex. Some continue innocently. They just feel like I still love her talk, but gradually they are swept into a trap by their exes. So it's always good to do a clean break, even though you may still remain friends, but from afar, without necessarily getting too engaged in everyday talks.
Okay. So I also had questions in mind, but I will find it. So yes, I think privacy. How much privacy is too much privacy, or how much access is too much access to your partner's gadgets and things like that?
It all depends on both of you.
Okay.
What is really important to one may not be to another. Some people are very private. They grew up private. They love their space. They don't want intrusion, even if they are married. And so you must learn to understand your partner, what she wants. I don't mind my gadgets being run through, but I think I may mind when some of my documents are being gone through without me being aware.
Okay.
But others may not have a problem with it. So each person must set boundaries and talk about it. Within this environment, maybe my work environment, these are my boundaries. My personal life, these are my boundaries. But we are married. So even the boundaries should not be so stringent where it will create suspicion. It must just be trusting, but we know that, okay, I just understand that this is what he or she wants, and I give it to them.
So something like, fine, I think it is generally allowed, you can take your spouse's phone and use and all that, but what about going through every single conversation they have on their phones and things like that? Can it be termed as too much?
That's intrusive for some.
That's intrusive for some. Okay.
For others, it's not. So everybody and how they see some of these issues. It can be very intrusive for some, but for others, they are okay.
Okay.
I remember my husband could leave his phone and I'll be replying his messages on his behalf. He may have so many messages and he forgets to reply. And I will reply everything. And then he'll be like, who did that? And I was like, I did it on your behalf. And he'll be okay with it. Another person may not be.
Okay. So I wanted to also ask about the insecurity thing, because if you have a partner who doesn't want you to move forward in life, personally, if we are dating and I notice something like that, I will pack my things, because why would you want to stifle somebody? So how do you navigate that? Because you probably definitely love the person. So with something like that, or maybe in the marriage, you come and realize that all those talks were just for campaign. He was just all about self-development just to get you. But now you're in the marriage and he says, no, we are here to make babies. And you can't further your education. Something like that. Is that grounds for quitting the marriage?
That's not grounds for quitting the marriage. It's just that it's going to create a lot of tension and problem for you. Because you see, that decision to get married is something to be considered carefully. You must read my next book, The Wedding Bells. I was telling you about it.
Yeah, you have it?
Yes, I have a copy of it.
Okay.
It's an interesting conversation starter, great for singles and even married, about the right questions that must be asked and considered before marriage. Personal development is important, and you must agree that everybody would want to develop at one point in time or the other. But sometimes some partners are stifling. They always have an excuse why you can't move forward. You must converse about it, and then at a point, make informed decisions. If you are already married, it's not immediately a basis for divorce, but there are alternative ways.
Okay.
So, for example, you want to travel 3 years to Canada to go and do a schooling. But because of your young babies, you may have to compromise and do maybe a course within your country or maybe an online program. But you are still developing. So find compromising situations without necessarily losing it all and say that it's either Canada or nothing.
Okay.
And then you make
But
sure.
you see, some of them, I was coming from the perspective of, it doesn't want you to do any education thing. Like you are a wife, be a wife.
Housewife.
The education, those kinds of people.
Yeah.
But you see, you mentioned that during the courtship, people don't truly reveal their... So probably in the courtship, he was behaving all progressive.
It's okay.
Then now you're locked up with him.
You are locked up with him, so you would have to find a way out. There are many going through that. I know a girl who got a scholarship to go to the US. She's not even married. And the man is like, no, he doesn't stand for women who want to progress. I told her, move out. Don't even bother to get married. Forget.
Yes, that's my language. Okay, so we have a comment here. It says, so about the long-distance relationship, a key factor to sustain a good relationship is constant communication, from Jerusha and Ophelia. Yeah. Thank you so much for your comment. Hey, we have... Please, it's okay. We are wrapping up. So this one says, please, I want to ask a question again. Whenever I try to talk about it, then he will be like there's nothing going on. But they called late at night, and some of them are married with kids. Okay, so these are his exes. So the person whose spouse is speaking with the exes, please, can you help me on how I should talk about it with him, please?
So it's simply, like we said, just find an occasion where both of you are comfortable, you are happy, tensions are down, and you draw his attention to the fact that you are getting a little uncomfortable with those conversations late at night with his exes, and that you believe that it can create undue suspicion, insecurity, mistrust. So if he can slow down on it, and if he respects her, he will listen to her without brushing it aside. But if he does, then it's already an indication that there's either a problem in the marriage for which he's looking for an alternative with his exes. And then you can prayerfully maybe look for a third party, prayerfully.
Okay.
Because if not, that can also create another conflict.
So, as for this comment, I don't even know whether to read it, but he says he's following closely and enjoying it, but he noticed that it is centered on women. It just seems women don't cause problems in marriages or relationships. I believe that's unfair. Good morning. So I'll send your questions. Send whatever problems you've caused.
Women cause a lot of problems. Maybe the questions that have come have made it look like it has been skewed to women, but whatever we are saying relates to spouses, and spouses could be male or female. There are a lot of women who are giving men a lot of hell in marriage. There are women who are over-demanding, overbearing, with unrealistic expectations, very disrespectful. There are women who are not submissive. And so his question is very, very welcome, and he's very truthful. A lot of women are causing so much unrest. I have a son who says, men are going through a lot. Men are going through a lot. I think I want to do a show like that.
Yes, we will definitely have you back. So another comment, I think, is to help the ex people. This one is from Jerusha and Ophelia again. About keeping in touch with your ex, it depends on how the relationship ended. If you can both be matured about it, fine. If not, just stay away from each other, from rekindling any old flames, and protect your marriage. Thank you so much. This one also says, thank you very much, Mommy. God bless you. So this is from the person who was asking about the exes. Please, We have finished. It's okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hannah Abraham Zapiah.
Thank you.
We would like to take your final words to the public, married and single alike. And I will talk with my producers and then we'll arrange again, probably to have a dating conversation, and then maybe we'll continue the marriage one subsequently, because there's a lot we need to cover. So yes, your final words, please.
I think the next one we'll talk about men are going through a lot.
Yes, okay, that's fine.
we have to talk for the men. But my final words is God created marriage with an intention for good, raising godly children, for companionship. When the principles of marriage are understood, then the foundations are laid right. A healthy relationship, healthy marriage, willingness to grow, willingness to work on yourself, to have the desired results and intention. Marriage is good, but it's a lot of work. It involves responsibility. It involves willingness to change. It involves being abreast with the times. And then prayerfully forgiving one another and learning to love. It is possible to have a healthy marriage, and it is possible to maintain it in the years God gives you together. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. So this brings us to the end of the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. A few questions are coming in, but I apologize. I can't read them. Our time is up. So I would advise that you stay tuned to Clock TV. And for the next time we have our madam here, our mommy here, you can ask your questions again. I will try and keep them in mind so that the next time I can read them to her to answer for you. So yes, as I said, this brings us to the end of the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Thank you so much, our cherished viewers, for watching. Thank you to everyone that had a question, everyone that had a comment, everyone that called in. Thank you so, so much. A big thank you to our sponsors, our management. A big thank you to our technical team. A big thank you to everybody, Papa J, Papa C. Thank you all so, so much for making this show a success. We will see you next month, next Tuesday, bright and early. Do have a blissful day and weekend ahead.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.